Why are people donating money to comedian Kunal Kamra on YouTube? Stand-up comedian Kunal Kamra has been showered with donations on YouTube. Hey race, why? Comedian Kunal Kamra's YouTube video targeting Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde with Gadar remark has reignited the freedom of speech debate on social media. Kamra has been criticized for misusing the fundamental right by expressing views on the stage that the angry mob believed overstepped the boundary of what was acceptable. They called it defamatory in nature. On Sunday, Shiv Sena workers vandalized the Mumbai studio where the 36-year-old comedian's show was recorded. Police complaint against Kamra and threats followed soon. However, despite the hurricane of controversy that Kamra has driven himself to, there was a section of people online that was happily emptying their wallets for the comedian. But Weenani's giving a twist to Bholi Si Surat track from 1997's Dil to Pagal Hai, Kamra took shots at Shiv Sena chief Eknath Shinde. Mary Nazar se tum dekho to Gadar Nazar wo ei. He. Kamra said while reading out the altered lyrics of the popular song on stage. The modified song was to highlight Shinde's rebellion against Uddhav Thackeray's MVA government in Maharashtra in 2022. This wasn't received well by the Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, who stated that freedom of expression was encouraged but it shouldn't lead to tyranny. Eknath Shindeji has been insulted, and an attempt has been made to do so. This will not be tolerated. The elections have proven who the traitors are. No stand-up comedian should have the right to call such a big leader a traitor, Fadnavis said. There is freedom to do stand-up comedy, but he cannot speak whatever he wants. The people of Maharashtra have decided who the traitor is. Kunal Kamra should apologize. This will not be tolerated, he added. The CM also noted that appropriate action would be taken against the comedian and that Kamra needed to apologize for his act. Nanan Shiv Sena leaders were seen turning the studio upside down as videos of party workers vandalizing the venue where Kamra's video was shot went viral online. 12 Sena leaders were arrested and later granted bail. Shiv Sena MLA Murji Patel, who lodged an FIR against the comedian, demanded an apology from Kamra, stating that the Shiv Sainiks will not let him move freely in Mumbai, before adding, if he is seen anywhere in public, we will paint his face black. The studio's official Instagram handle informed that they were shutting down and figuring out a way to provide artists a stage for free expression without putting themselves in the crossfire. Also read Kunal Kamra's call records, bank details under Maharashtra government scanner after Eknath Shinde parody. We are shocked, worried and extremely broken by the recent acts of vandalism targeting us. Artists are solely responsible for their views and creative choices. We have never been involved in the content performed by any artist, but the recent events have made us rethink about how we get blamed and targeted every time, almost like we are a proxy for the performer. We are shutting down till we figure out the best way to provide a platform for free expression without putting ourselves and our property in jeopardy. We invite all artists, audience, and stakeholders to discuss and share their views freely and request your guidance so that we also respect the performer's rights, the studio wrote in the post. Nanan Mir Ko to Akalaga, Akakiya Kunal Kamra when Kangana Ranaut's office was demolished by the BMC. Sanjay Raut was mocking the demolition, and this was Kamra's response. Before you stand for his freedom of speech, do watch this. Just an observation, a user wrote on X while sharing an old video where Kamra and Shiv Sena UBT leader Sanjay Raut discussed about actress Kangana Ranaut, whose Mumbai house was demolished in 2020 by the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation BMC amid her battle with Shiv Sena. Also read Kangana Ranaut recalls 2020 house demolition incident. Violence was unleashed on Mathis thing was amended for the first time to take away the guarantee of free speech. Free speech with random restraints is not a right. It's a privilege. Tamil Nadu resident Kamra enjoys the privilege as long as he doesn't SHT on Stalin like he did on Shinde. Sick wrote another user. The only time you can take umbrage from freedom of speech is if it incites violence. Kunal Kamra's act does no such thing. Any political leader who is mature and confident will laugh along, a user wrote in Kamra's defense. Nana's Kamra's parody song set the social media aflame. Folks on YouTube came out with extinguishers. Hundreds and thousands of supporters from different corners of the world emptied their wallets for the comedian. They did so using YouTube Super Thanks, a feature for the viewer to support the creator directly. This was their way to support the comedian's freedom of speech while also noting that his sharp political satire was brave in nature and it would invariably lead to cancellation of Kamra's future prospects such as stand-up gigs. Thanks Kunal for having the courage to speak out. I hope everyone will put their money where their mouth is and support the freedom of speech in our country, a YouTuber commenter wrote while donating Rs 179. Another commenter, donating 99.99, wrote they will come for you for this. Please set up a fundraiser and we will foot your bills for pulling no punches. Cheers mate. Also read Rise Up. Get Constructive Sena reacts to Kunal Kamra's statement, alleges he wants to spoil law order. It's a dark time for any country when comedy requires bravery, a third wrote. They donated 5 to Kamra. YouTube screenshots Kunal Kamra Naya Bharat Nanan. The controversy wouldn't have birthed had Kunal Kamra's parody video been left alone and not shared like hot potato across media platforms and WhatsApp groups, opined a few. The mere act of taking offense to a comedy video only brought more eyeballs to Kamra's sharp jibes that have now been viewed by tens of millions of people across India and beyond. Lesser people would have seen Kunal's show. But Eknath Shinde's workers ensured it reaches the masses now. typed down an X-user. Nanan Kamra minced no words in a statement he issued on X. Our right to freedom of speech and expression is not only to be used to fawn over the powerful and rich, even though today's media would have us believe otherwise. Your inability to take a joke at the expense of a powerful public figure does not change the nature of my right. As far as I know, it is not against the law to poke fun at our leaders and the circus that is our political system, Kamra wrote. I am willing to cooperate with the police and courts for any lawful action taken against me. But will the law be fairly and equally deployed against those who have decided that vandalism is the appropriate response to being offended by a joke, he said. The comedian slammed Shiv Sena for vandalism and asserted that the venue Habitat wasn't responsible for his comedy nor had any say in his content. Nan. As US lifts bounties on key Taliban leaders, a glance at Haqqani Network. Its violent past explained. The Haqqani Network was created in 1980 as an anti-Soviet jihad in Afghanistan. After the death of its founder Jalaluddin, one of his sons, Sirajuddin Haqqani, took over the network, establishing stronger relations with Pakistani intelligence. The United States government has lifted multi-million-dollar bounties on 3 senior Afghan officials, including the Interior Minister, Sirajuddin Haqqani, who heads a powerful network known for carrying out attacks on prominent targets in Afghanistan. Haqqani, who acknowledged planning a January 2008 attack on the Serena Hotel in Kabul, which killed 6 people, no longer appears on the State Department's Rewards for Justice website. The FBI website still featured a wanted poster for him on Sunday. Afghanistan Interior Ministry spokesperson Abdul Mateen Kani said the U.S. government has revoked the bounties on Haqqani, Abdul Aziz Haqqani and Yahya Haqqani. These 3 individuals are 2 brothers and 1 paternal cousin, Kani told the Associated Press. The bounties were removed days after a U.S. hostage envoy, Adam Baller, made the first visit by a high-ranking American diplomat to Kabul since the Taliban seized power in 2021. So, what do we know about Sirajuddin Haqqani and the Haqqani network and the deadly attacks it has carried out in the past? What would change after the U.S. government's decision? Let us understand. Nanan. The origins of the Haqqani network date back to a 1973 coup in Afghanistan that brought to power Prime Minister Daud Khan. When Khan offered shelter, training, and weapons to bullish insurgents and Pakistani Pashtun nationalists alike, Pakistani intelligence began mobilizing exiled Afghan dissidents like Jalaluddin Haqqani for anti-regime operations. From their base in Pakistan's tribal areas, in 1975, Haqqani's fighters launched their first attack in Afghanistan, killing 12. After the 1979 Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, Pakistani intelligence reactivated Afghan Mujahideen proxies, with Haqqani and his allies receiving an extraordinary share of the arms and financial assistance. Pakistan accepted arms and aid from the US and Saudi Arabia for the anti-Soviet jihad, even as Pakistani intelligence controlled their distribution and their transport to the war zone, while limiting contact between the CIA and the Mujahideen. Jalaluddin's tribal connections, fundraising skills, and fluency in Arabic were his key assets behind his ascension. Haqqani's Sadran tribe straddles the Afghan-Pakistani border where Loya-Paktia meets Waziristan. The border crossings under its control provided the network leverage over the flow of drugs, trade, and fighters coming across the porous border, with additional revenue earned from smuggling, kidnapping, and extortion. Jalaluddin had distinguished himself by drawing Gulf money and Arab fighters to the anti-Soviet Afghan jihad, even taking an Arab wife from the UAE with which he had a son, Sirajuddin. After the Soviet withdrew from Afghanistan in 1989, there was a civil war. Ultra-conservative Pashtun religious students Talibs came out of nowhere, vowing to end warlordism and implement strict Islamic law in the country. In late 1994, Pakistan threw support behind emerging Taliban movement led by Mullah Omar. Initially opposed to the group, Jalaluddin defected to the Taliban in 1995 while maintaining his own power base in Loya-Paktia. The following year, the Taliban seized control of Kabul and effectively ended the Afghan civil war. Jalaluddin was appointed Minister of Borders and Tribal Affairs in the Taliban government from 1996 to 2001. After 9/11, US allied forces began cornering Taliban and Al-Qaeda leaders, as well as Pakistani army officers and intelligence advisors along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. Nanan Jalaluddin began remobilizing his front in Pakistan's federally administered tribal areas, and by late 2002, Haqqani fighting groups were operating in Paktia and Khost in eastern Afghanistan. In 2003, the Taliban formed new regional leadership councils or shuras. The quasi-autonomous Miram Shah Shura, headquartered in North Waziristan, was composed exclusively of the Haqqani network. Meanwhile, Sirajuddin began taking control of the network from his aging father. By 2005, he was spearheading the insurgency in Loya-Paktia, overseeing an expansion of the network's operations and stretching campaign of terror to Kabul. Sirajuddin was making the Haqqani network increasingly indispensable to Pakistan intelligence. In 2000s, the militants in the network in the stronghold of Waziristan began targeting the Pakistani state and civilians, coming together under the banner of a new Pakistani Taliban in 2007. In 2007, the Haqqani network was officially affiliated with the Taliban. Sirajuddin was granted membership to the Taliban Leadership Council and was later appointed head of the Miram Shah Shura. Nanan. The US military officials warned that the Haqqani network was becoming more violent and self-serving under their leader Sirajuddin, who recruited younger and more aggressive militants against the traditional Tsadran tribal leaders. Among all the Taliban factions, the Haqqani network was the first to adopt suicide bombing technique and is believed to have played a major role in the July 2008 attack at the Indian embassy in Kabul that killed over 50 people. In December 2009, the network carried out a suicide bombing at a CIA outpost in Khost. In 2011, the Haqqani network orchestrated a suicide bombing at the Intercontinental Hotel in Kabul, injuring 77 U.S. soldiers in an attack on a U.S. military base, and targeted the U.S. embassy in Kabul. That same year, Sirajuddin published a manifesto advocating for global jihad outside Afghanistan's borders, a departure from his father more traditional focus on eastern Afghanistan. In 2011, the US became frustrated and asked Pakistan to cut ties with Haqqani. Then Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Admiral Mike Mullen described the network as a veritable arm of Pakistani intelligence. In 2012, Siraj officially assumed control of the network from Jalaluddin, and the US State Department designated the group a terrorist organization. Nanan Jalaluddin was considered close to al-Qaeda and its founder Osama bin Laden. According to a 2021 UN report, the Haqqani network remains a hub for outreach and cooperation with regional foreign terrorist groups and is the primary liaison between the Taliban and al-Qaeda. Khalil Haqqani is known to American intelligence as the Taliban emissary to al-Qaeda. Stanford's Mapping Militant Organizations explains that Khalil has acted on behalf of al-Qaeda and facilitated its terrorist operations and organized the detention of enemy prisoners captured by the Haqqani network and al-Qaeda. Experts believe al-Qaeda and the Haqqani network are today intertwined, and it is highly unlikely they will cut ties. Afghanistan expert Melissa Skorka, quoted by Foreign Policy, notes that even in 2021, Mr. Haqqani marches in lockstep with his al-Qaeda base. The network is believed to be even more anti-US than other parts of the Taliban. Don Rassler and Vahid Brown, co-authors of one of the most deeply researched books on the Haqqani network, believe the Haqqanis influenced al-Qaeda to view the US as the primary target of global jihad. Nanan after the fall of Kabul in August 2021 and the US troops' retreat, the Taliban and the Haqqani network became indistinguishable. But within days of forming the government, both the factions were reportedly involved in a power-sharing tussle, sending a key Taliban leader fleeing Kabul. Although the Haqqani network has been termed as an autonomous and integral part of the Taliban, but it has maintained separate command and control and lines of operations. In terms of differences between the Taliban and the Haqqani network, the former roughly aligns Pashtun tribes of which the Haqqani network is a part. The traditional Taliban leaders such as late Mullah Omar, his son Mullah Yaqub and current Deputy Prime Minister Mullah Baradar hail from Greater Kandahar region in southern Afghanistan, while the Haqqani tribe lies in the more mountainous northeast. In 2015, the death of Mullah Omar, which propelled Sirajuddin's rise, created fissures between the Taliban's Kandahari leaders and the Haqqani network. Sirajuddin was named deputy emir of the Taliban under Omar's immediate successor, Mullah Mansur. After Omar's immediate successor was killed in a drone strike by the US in 2016, a religious scholar, Haybatullah Akhundzada, was named the Taliban's new emir. Siraj reportedly enjoyed final authority over the appointment of Taliban shadow governors, while Akhundzada's relative lack of battlefield experience meant Sirajuddin had almost total autonomy over military strategy and operations, according to War on the Rocks, a platform for analysis and debate on strategy, defense, and foreign affairs. In August 2021, after the U.S. military's withdrawal from Kabul, Haqqani leaders and Taliban Deputy Prime Minister Mullah Baradar sparred over the allocation of ministerial posts. The dispute was so serious that the Pakistani intelligence chief had to fly to Kabul to oversee negotiations. Ultimately, two Haqqani leaders were given ministerial positions in the new Taliban government: Khalil Refugees Minister and Sirajuddin Interior Minister. But within days of forming the new government, the Haqqani leaders and Baradar were reportedly engaged in a fistfight, which sent Baradar and Mullah Yaqub fleeing to Kandahar. Reports said Baradar released a hostage video claiming that the two sides had settled their differences. By October, he had returned to Kabul, apparently refusing a security detail from the Haqqani Interior Ministry. As per reports, Pakistani intelligence has predictably backed the Haqqanis over Baradar. The relationship between the Haqqani leaders and Pakistani state is older and stronger. Sirajuddin's uncle, Khalil Haqqani, reportedly meets Pakistani army chief frequently and was a regular visitor to Pakistan's headquarters in Rawalpindi. This seems obvious as Pakistan got Baradar arrested in 2010 after he tried to negotiate peace talks with the US without us, a Pakistani official had told the New York Times. The Taliban's relationship with Pakistani intelligence can be characterized by tactical cooperation and mutual dependency, but also substantial mistrust. Therefore, the Pakistani intelligence has sought to make itself indispensable to the group by populating it with more loyal Haqqani militants. In the late 1990s, when the Taliban ruled Afghanistan, they categorically refused to recognize the Durand Line, the de facto Afghan-Pakistani border created by the British in 1893 that divides the nearly 60 million Pashtuns in both countries. Mullah Omar was reportedly miffed with his Pakistani counterparts when the issue was raised. Since taking power, the Taliban again withheld recognition of the Durand Line, complaining about Pakistan's efforts to fence the Afghan-Pakistani border. Over the past 3 years, Sirajuddin has sought to remake his image and engage with the West through back channels. He appears to be trying to win foreign support that could help him as he tries to negotiate with Haybatullah over the Taliban's most controversial policies. Nan. Why Saratoga water has seen rapid spike in Google searches. This meme is literally bananas. Fitness influencer Ashton Hall's morning routine video has sparked a rapid spike in Google searches for Saratoga water in the US and India. While bananas and ice cubes have already achieved cult status on X, a photograph of a water bottle and bananas in a shopping cart has thousands of likes on Elon Musk's social media platform X. Another image of ice cubes dunked in water has engaged over 5 million people. You've to be chronically online to understand the absurdity behind these images, let alone get behind the incomprehensible engagement stats generated by them. A user of the website aptly summed it up for us: can't miss one day on this app. All this because of a fitness influencer. And what's there not to like about fitness influencers? Their strict routines, calculated diets, and chiseled bodies can serve as huge motivators for the rest of us who are buried in our beds with bag of chips and soda can on our bellies, doom scrolling till the morning light. Not to forget that the health benefits attached to exercising and just eating healthy can have positive effects on our physical and mental well-being. The flip side to watching these extremely fit individuals is that they set a benchmark so high, sometimes so unrealistic, that it becomes all a big joke. A joke that has united the web to dunk on it collectively now. Because, realistically, how many of us even take time out of schedules to Google a bottle of water? And fitness influencer Ashton Hall, who has been subscribed by nearly 3 million on YouTube, documents his gym routines and exercises that help him look the way he looks. HIIT, no equipment workouts, upper body workouts, ABS workout, shoulder exercises, leg days, full body dumbbell workouts, you name a regime, and Hall probably has a video on it. Also read why are people donating money to comedian Kunal Kamra on YouTube? It is, however, his video showcasing his morning routine that has caught the fancy of many. The use-based influencer's routine was reshared by an X platform. The length of the video is 1.26 minutes. The views on it 712 million. Yes, 712 million. We repeat, Hall's morning routine has been viewed 712 million times on X. YouTube screen grab. Nan Hall wakes up early. Before 4 a.m. At 3:54 a.m. he brushes his teeth. At 4:01 a.m. he walks to the balcony with a bottle of Saratoga water. There he does quick push-ups. At 4:42 a.m., Hall can be seen noting down something on his journal. 3 minutes later, Hall sips the water again. At 5:49 a.m., Hall takes a bunch of ice cubes, dunks them in bowl of water, his face goes in it next. At 6 a.m., Hall is all geared up to go downstairs. Then, he sprints on a treadmill. It is 7:40 a.m. on Hall's clock. Hall takes a giant leap to the swimming pool. Hall is back in his room, it's time for a quick shower. The time is 8:35 a.m. It's been over 4.5 hours since Hall started his morning routine. He's not done yet. At 8:43 a.m., Hall eats a banana. 2 minutes later, he rubs his face with the banana peel. At 9:09 a.m., Hall is all suited up. A bowl of ice cube water is brought to his computer desk. He dunks his face in it yet again. He starts recording his content on the mic. Eggs and bacon are for breakfast. They are served to him on his desk. Saratoga bottle makes an appearance again. Few. Nan. The sparkling or still water bottle that Hall consumes in his video has gone bananas in the US. The recent searches made around the bottle brand can be seen through a staggering spike. The Saratoga water has become a celebrity now. The impact caused by Hall's routine. Also read Jack Dorsey's first tweet goes viral after 19 years. Why was Twitter created? Nan. This meme doesn't make sense on any given day. But bananas, Saratoga water, ice cubes are changing lives of people. Can someone explain the significance of these? Have been seeing a lot since yesterday, wrote a curious person on X. It's hard to describe in words, a meme that is so far removed from reality. A visual representation of it could only do justice or make sense to the unaware. Just take a peek at the number of likes and shares on this. Or these ice cubes. Nan Hall, who has almost 9 million followers on Instagram, Ashton Hall Official, shared a similar video of his morning routine on the platform recently. As expected, it has exploded there too. The video is doing big numbers. The comments on it priceless. Bro jumped at 736 and landed at 740. YTF do you need an assistant to pass you your shirt? Sick. The whole internet hating on homie for having discipline. Bro woke up at 3 a.m. with wearing jewelry. Sick. Nan. Has Kerala surpassed Punjab in drug menace? The southern states narcotics war. Explain it. In 2024, Kerala recorded 27,701 cases under the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances NDPS Act, more than 3 times Punjab's 9,025 cases. According to the Union Home Ministry, Kerala is fighting a heavy-duty war on drugs, with the growing use of psychotropic substances against the youth. In the last 3 years, there is a sudden increase in cases of drug abuse, with the Kerala High Court warning of a drug mafia. Several campaigns such as Love-a-thon have been conducted in schools and colleges against drug abuse, with Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan urging the police to crack down heavily on the drug trade. The Kerala Assembly was also suspended last month over the issue, with members across political lines speaking of the growing influence of new age drugs on youth and the need to increase enforcement. Nanan Kerala, which is the most literate state in India, is seeing a growing drug crisis, overtaking Punjab, the drug epicenter of the country, in numbers. In 2024, Kerala recorded 27,701 cases under the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances NDPS Act, more than 3 times Punjab's 9,025 cases, according to the Union Home Ministry. The drug cases in the state have surged from 5,695 in 2021 to 26,619 in 2022 and surpassed 30,000 in 2023. The state has registered 87,101 drug-related cases in the last 4 years, over a 130 increase over the previous 4-year period's 37,228 cases, according to the state government. This worrying trend reflects the state's strict policing and enforcement laws, but at the same time highlights a growing drug crisis is infesting India's smaller towns and rural areas. In terms of the number of cases filed under NDPS Act in 2024, Kerala stands as a stark outlier with 78 cases per lakh people, while Punjab recorded 30 cases per lakh people. No other state had a rate more than 25 cases per 1 lakh people, as per a report by The Hindu. The problem is not limited to urban areas of Kerala. In fact, every district in Kerala recorded at least 500 cases under the NDPS Act in 2022. While Mumbai district accounted for 80 of all NDPS Act cases in Maharashtra in 2022, Bengaluru district made up 63 of Karnataka's total, as per The Hindu report. Nanan drug trafficking routes in Kerala span land and sea, with Bengaluru emerging as a main transit point. In 2019, total synthetic drug seizures in Kochi amounted to just 2.49 kilograms. In 2023, a single haul netted 2,525 kilograms of methamphetamine or meth, an astronomical leap. While Ernakulam, which has become a hotbed of drugs in Kerala, recorded 8,567 NDPS cases from January 2023 to June 2024, nearly matching Punjab's total of 9,025 cases for all of 2024. As per a report by the Economic Times. Unlike the traditional methods where drugs were smuggled in large numbers, these days the trade is hyper-local, operating through a network of local informal contacts than conventional supply chains. Another Hindu report highlighted how investigators detected 1 kilogram of ganja couriered from Thailand to Kerala via the International Post Office in Kochi in February, and the intercepted courier delivery of synthetic drugs to a peddler in Kochi in 2022, pointing to the emerging trend of using cryptocurrency through offshore banks for narcotics-related transactions. According to officials, the Coastal Bulletin, an internal circular from the Kerala Coastal Police, noticed an increased use of South Asian sea routes to smuggle drugs into southern states, including Kerala. The police have established anti-narcotic special operations groups in station houses across Kerala and stepped up preventive detention and seizure of assets of habitual drug offenders. Nanan the Kerala police has been spreading the word on social media, borrowing a punchline from a hit Mohanlal film Narcotics is a dirty business. Vigilante committees have been set up across districts, often meting out swift, brutal street justice to suspected drug peddlers. One panchayat in Malappuram has even promised a reward of Rs 10,000 for whistleblowers, as per a report by the Economic Times. The state government has formed an anti-narcotics task force, appointing senior officer ADGP Manoj Abraham to take up the challenge. As per a report by The Week, excise officers are trained in drug law enforcement, as well as modern methods for detecting and preventing drug trafficking. They also receive training in cyber surveillance, financial tracking of drug networks, and forensic analysis to bolster their enforcement capabilities. But, on the ground, the cyber wing of the excise department has largely remained ineffective so far because of its dependency on the police for inputs. It further said excise officers face delays in getting information from the police cyber wing as its requests are not prioritized and there is a lack of coordination between the two departments. State Excise Minister M.B. Rajesh in February highlighted the magnitude of substance abuse in India report, 2019 to prove Kerala was at the bottom of the spectrum. He showed in the assembly that 24,517 arrests were made in the state in 2024 in narcotic-related cases, the highest in the country. Rajesh said Kerala's conviction rate for narcotic cases was 98.9 while the national average was 78. He also said Kerala accounts for just Rs 60 crore of the Rs 16,000 crore worth of drugs seized in the country in 2023, as per online Manorama, Kerala's popular news outlet. Nan. Disney's Snow White controversy and hate for woke. Rachel Zegler explained Disney's Snow White has been bombarded with 1-star reviews on IMDb since its release. But why has the live-action movie, starring Rachel Zegler, courted so much hate and criticism online? Disney's Snow White has been engulfed in controversy in what seems like forever. However, it is Rachel Zegler, the lead actress casting, that brought the project into the negative spotlight, and the criticism toward the movie only furthered when viewers were left mighty unimpressed during the trailer drop. While Zegler's ethnicity and appearance made critics feel that she was a misfit for the role, it was her comments regarding the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs released in 1937 that many noted were to appease the woke audience and could have been avoided. Hey race, why Disney's Snow White and Zegler have faced wide criticism from fans and critics alike. Nan Zegler was interviewed at the D23 Expo 2022 where she debuted the first look of the movie in 2022. Speaking to Extra TV, Zegler admitted that she found the OG problematic and that they avoided the love story elements where the prince stalks the character. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. Weird. So we didn't do that this time. It's an inner journey that she goes on to find her true self, and she meets a lot of people along the way that make the journey really incredible. Also read Korean social media users react strongly to Disney's latest Snow White trailer. Fans felt that Zegler had disrespected the legacy built by the classic tale. Nanan when Zegler was not in the crossfire, Disney was. Since its drop on YouTube, Snow White trailer has widely been panned for its depiction of the dwarves, especially because of the use of photorealistic CGI that make the beloved characters stick out like a sore thumb. If that weren't enough, the once endeared woodland creatures were reduced to hyper-realistic animals, a horrid sight to many. YouTube comments under the trailer were far from flattering, and soon Snow White, the timeless epic, became the modern-day meme. They finally did it. They made a movie nobody is going to pirate, mocked one user. I told my boss at work that I saw Snow White and he gave me 3 days off for self-care, ridiculed another. Wow. Disney. You truly are incredible. It took you 3 years, multiple rewrites, unnecessary CGI, and $209 million just for me to enjoy a comment section of a movie I will never watch. Bless you. I think Disney left the comment section open because they realized this is the only traffic this movie is going to get. Nanan, did Disney's Snow White warrant so much hate and criticism? Apparently yes. Since its release on March 21, the movie has been one star bombed on IMDb, and users of the database website have left behind scathing reviews, calling it a missed opportunity. In their detailed movie breakdown, a user wrote, Snow White is another soulless live-action remake that lacks the heart and magic of the original. While Zegler's singing is a bright spot, her acting, coupled with bad CGI and uninspired musical numbers, makes this adaptation feel unnecessary. Disney had an opportunity to bring a fresh and captivating take on Snow White, but instead, they delivered a forgettable and lackluster film. Fans of the original will likely leave disappointed, longing for the charm and artistry that made the 1937 classic a masterpiece. A different user wrote that even their 3-year-old couldn't enjoy the flick. IMDb Snow White, this movie makes no sense. It is a complete disaster. My 3-year-old was so upset because the cartoons that she watched did not look the same in the film. Disney did not work on the script, horrible actor selection and extremely poor CGI. This movie has everything wrong with modern cinema. The lead actress has no charisma and is not talented to work on classics like Snow White. Also read why Saratoga Water has seen rapid spike in Google searches. This meme is literally bananas. The woke adaptation doesn't do the justice, penned down another watcher of the movie. Disney's Snow White remake is a frustrating, woke adaptation that completely misses the magic of the original. From the awkward modernization of the story to the lackluster performances, the film feels more like a soulless corporate project than a beloved fairy tale brought to life. Nanan woke desperation, soulless, forced, awkward, questionable casting. Critics mimicked fans' reviews. Also read why are people donating money to comedian Kunal Kamra on YouTube? It's the same story all over again. The gnawing, growing Disney princess fatigue aside, this Mark Webb film is a classic case of woke desperation. It's so eager to be subversive, that it ends up being ridiculous instead, wrote Sneha Bengani in her review published on CNBC TV 18. Snow White, a minefield of blunders. Let's start with the film's choice of casting. It has roped in an actor of Colombian descent to play a character known for her pale skin and quintessential beauty. Not just Rachel Zegler's Snow White, the casting of Gal Gadot as the evil queen is questionable too. Despite being clouded in sharp reviews, Mark Webb's interpretation has collected an estimated $87.3 million in its opening weekend, BBC reported. The movie was made at an elaborate budget of $270 million. Why do some people get tattoos and others don't? Is there a genetic reason? Explained. The researchers of the University of Southern Denmark found that genetic differences have little to do anything with individuals wanting to get tattooed. Tattoos have become a more common sight in workplaces around India. But what makes some individuals get inked and others don't? Is it about genes? A study by the University of Southern Denmark in Odense found differences in individuals' propensity to get tattooed were not due to nature but because of nurture. Let us find out. Nanan, a tattoo is an indelible mark or design registered on the skin by injecting inks and dyes into a skin layer called the dermis. There, the pigment particles become engulfed and subsequently kept in place by cells of the body's immune system, making them permanent. Scientists have found that tattoos are more than 5,000 years old. Some hikers in 1991 found the mummified remains of a man named Ötzi the Iceman in northern Italy, who had tattoos on his body. The earliest known examples of tattoos on actual bodies were for a long time Egyptian and were present on several female mummies dated to circa 2000 BC. As per Smithsonian magazine. But following the more recent discovery of the Iceman in 1991, this date has been pushed back a further 1,000 years when he was carbon dated at around 5,200 years old. Not just men, women too had tattoos on their bodies and limbs, from figurines circa 4000-3500 BCE to occasional female figures represented in tomb scenes circa 1200 BCE and in figurine form circa 1300 BCE, all with tattoos on their thighs, the magazine reported. Nana's tattooing seemed to be an exclusively female practice in ancient Egypt, though recent finds prove at least one man was inked. Mummies found with tattoos were usually dismissed by the male excavators, who seemed to assume the women were of dubious status, described in some cases as dancing girls. Although there is no explicit written evidence in ancient Egypt, it may well be that the older women of a community would create the tattoos for the younger women, as happened in 19th century Egypt and happens in some parts of the world today. Nanan, there is no genetic connection between people who get inked and those who don't, as per the researchers of the University of Southern Denmark. Identical twins are also known as monozygotic twins, and non-identical twins are called dizygotic twins. Monozygotic twins are always of the same biological sex, whereas dizygotic twins can be either of the same or of different sexes. If both members of a twin pair sport a tattoo, they are further said to be concordant. They are also concordant if both don't. But if one twin has a tattoo and the other doesn't, they are said to be discordant, the study highlighted. The researchers were also curious whether there was a greater concordance in monozygotic twins than in dizygotic twins of the same sex. The research came up empty. Thus, the finding revealed that genetic differences have little to do anything with individuals wanting to get tattooed. In 2021, researchers from the Seoul National University College of Medicine in South Korea reported in the journal BJOG the concordance rates for several different birth defects found in 3,386 monozygotic and dizygotic twin pairs born between 2001 and 2019. Nanan tattoos can lead to a number of risks, including skin infections, allergic reactions and scarring. While researchers have studied a possible link between tattoos and cancer, there is so far no concrete evidence to show one leads to the other. Instead, researchers believe there could be a coincidence between the two. Some tattoo inks contain a substance called azo, which is also used in car paints. Earlier research indicates that red ink used in tattoos increases the risk of liver cancer in rats who were exposed to red azo pigments. As per Healthline.com, black inks are too considered a higher risk. A 2016 report from the Australian government found that 83% of the black inks tested contained a carcinogen called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons PAHs. Another potential risk is exposure to hepatitis C and HIV/AIDS due to unster lead needles. Other health risks include scarring, skin infections and allergic reactions. Unlike a skin infection, allergic reaction is usually caused by the type of ink used. Your chances of developing an allergic reaction would get higher if you have a history of allergies or have sensitive skin. The process of tattooing creates a wound deep within the dermis, middle layer of your skin. It's important to take care of the new tattoos so that the wound may heal and you're left with ink you can be proud of. Before going under the needle, it is always advisable to find a licensed, reputable tattoo artist and ask about their sanitation practices, process of handling needles, policy of wearing gloves and licensing and experience. Nan. US vs China, who will win the race for world's sixth-generation fighter jets? Explained. Trump has described F-47 as the most lethal aircraft ever built, with its test version flying in secret for years. While China's J-36 is believed to feature 3 engines, which is quite an unusual choice for a tactical fighter, the year 2025 would see the race for world's first sixth-generation fighter jet hotting up as the United States has announced developing F-47 aircraft while its rival, China, has released pictures purportedly showing its most advanced stealth fighter jet dubbed as J-36. US President Donald Trump on Friday made an announcement recently that Boeing will develop F-47 fighter jet, which will have unprecedented power. America's enemies will never see them coming, he warned. Visuals of the triangular ginkgo leaf-shaped jet were aired by national broadcaster China Central Television on Sunday, purportedly to mark a minor Air Force anniversary, 27 years since the maiden flight of the fourth-generation J-10 fighter. Let us find out the specs of the two aircraft, the timing of the two events and where both countries stand in terms of aerial superiority. Nan. It is not a mere coincidence that the plane has been named F-47. Reports suggest that 47 stands for Trump, who is the 47th President of the United States. The generals picked a title, and it's a beautiful number, Trump was quoted as saying in the Oval Office. Nothing in the world comes even close to it. As per St. Louis Public Radio, the plane will be built at a Boeing manufacturing space in the city. The plane is officially called the Next Generation Air Dominance, which was established as a family of systems to counter rivals like China and Russia. Trump has called it the most lethal aircraft ever built, with a test version of the plane flying in secret for years. As per the BBC. There's never been anything even close to it, from speed to maneuverability, to what it can have, to payload, Trump said. Our allies are calling constantly, Trump added. The plane's specifications have not been fully disclosed. But it will have stealth capabilities, advanced sensors, and cutting-edge engines. As per an article in ARA&DSpaceforces.com, while the images show a conventionally stealthy nose and bubble canopy with a chiseled chine and a flattened overall fuselage shape, they also reveal both canards and wings with a distinctive upward angle, features that aren't typical of previous stealth designs. The F-47 planes will build on Boeing fighter legacy, which includes the P-51 Mustang, F-4 Phantom, F-15 Eagle, F/A-18 Hornet, and EA-18 Growler. The estimate cost of building the aircraft would be $20 billion initially, as per the Associated Press. Planes have been testing NGAD technologies for the last 5 years, flying hundreds of hours, testing cutting-edge concepts, and proving that we can push the edge of technology with confidence. ARA and DSpaceForces.com quoted Chief of Staff General David W. Alvin as saying, "Nanan the aircraft was seen conducting a test flight over Chengdu in southwestern Sichuan province." Analysts said it was notable that the jet was flying solo without a chase plane, and that it looked like the landing gear and aerodynamic capabilities of the J-36 were being tested. Though the Chinese government has not fully released the official details, but the J-36 was first spotted publicly on December 26, 2024, during its reported maiden flight. It was seen flying alongside a J-20S, the twin-seat variant of China's fifth-generation stealth fighter, which served as a chase plane. The J-36 fighter jet is reportedly developed by the Chengdu Aircraft Corporation, with distinctive tailless, flying wing design, which is required to enhance its stealth capabilities by reducing radar cross-section. As per a report by The Independent, the jet is estimated to be 66 to 85 feet long with a wingspan of about 65 feet, and is designed as a mix between a fighter and a bomber. It can carry heavy weapons inside, such as long-range missiles or precision-guided bombs. It is likely built to avoid detection and attack from a distance rather than engage in close-up dogfights. The J-36 is believed to feature 3 engines, which is quite an unusual choice for a tactical fighter, and can provide the thrust needed for high speeds and heavy payloads, according to the War Zone, a defense news and analysis website. Justin Bronk, a senior research fellow at the Royal United Services Institute RUSI, said the J-36 would prove crucial in battle zones where electronic warfare, like jamming or hacking, could interfere with drones. As per The Independent, Bronk stressed that China needs planes that can stay in the air for long missions, and that can defend its airspace or attacking enemy targets over the vast Indo-Pacific region. Nanan billionaire and Doge head Elon Musk told Fortune that the F-35 is an expensive and complex jack of all trades and master of none. He had earlier said in November that some idiots are still building manned fighter jets like the F-35. And manned fighter jets are obsolete in the age of drones anyway. "We'll just get pilots killed," he wrote on X. But some experts believe that manned jets would continue to rule the skies. The strategist claimed that the J-36 represents a significant leap in aviation technology. Meanwhile, Stacey Pettyjohn, a senior fellow at the Center for a New American Security, told The Washington Post, "This is one of the U.S. Air Force's core strengths, so continuing to invest in the high-end aircraft that allows us to do this is key to maintaining an edge over China." Retired Air Force Lieutenant General David Depchula told Fox News that no major military campaign can succeed without air superiority. Boeing's contract for F-47 means it will make the jet fighter and receive orders worth hundreds of billions of dollars over the contract's multi-decade lifetime. "We recognize the importance of designing, building and delivering a sixth-generation fighter capability for the United States Air Force," Steve Parker, who leads Boeing's defense business, said in a statement. "In preparation for this mission, we made the most significant investment in the history of our defense business." NANA's Brigadier General Doug Wickert, commander of the 412th Test Wing at Edwards Air Force Base, has warned that by 2027, China's modern fighter jet fleet will outnumber U.S. forces about 12 to 1 in key regions of the Western Pacific, as per the Eurasian Times. The warning follows the People's Liberation Army's PLA introduction of 2 new combat aircraft on December 26, touted as sixth-generation fighter jets, to celebrate Chinese Communist Party founder Mao Zedong's birthday. China's numerical superiority of assets translates into its considerable capacity to launch a full operation in a region. For example, in mid-December, the PLA Navy surrounded Taiwan in an unannounced exercise, the world's largest naval demonstration since the end of World War II. The exercise was 3 times larger in number of ships than last June's vaunted Rim of the Pacific exercise involving 40 U.S. and Allied surface ships. Nanan, as per the World Atlas, the United States has most number of aircraft, with 13,209 combat aircraft. In second place is Russia with 4,255 aircraft, and in third is China with 3,304 aircraft. The U.S. Air Force alone has access to 5,217 aircraft, while the U.S. Army Aviation has another 4,409 aircraft. The U.S. Navy has another 2,464, and the U.S. Marines have 1,157. The U.S. military has so many aircraft that it would take the combined militaries of Russia, China, India, South Korea, Japan, and Pakistan to surpass it in sheer numbers, the World Atlas reported. China's J-20 jets with stealth capabilities really make them stand out. They incredibly difficult to be traced on radar, ensuring that it will almost always have the element of surprise in war. Meanwhile, Russia has the Su-35, also known as the Sukhoi Su-35, as its main fighter jet. It was first introduced in 2014, and the current model is an upgrade from the Su-27 aircraft that was designed during Soviet era. Nan. Can India strike a trade deal with US ahead of reciprocal tariffs? All eyes on tax cuts. Explain. It is estimated by New Delhi that reciprocal tariffs, which come into effect from April 2, would hit 87 of its total exports to the U.S. worth $66 billion. A U.S. delegation headed by Brendan Lynch, the U.S. Trade Representative's point person for South and Central Asia, is in India to discuss a trade deal with New Delhi during their 5-day visit starting Tuesday. As the visit comes before the reciprocal tariffs by the Trump administration kick in from April 2, there could be focus on lowering Indian import duties, reports suggest. Prime Minister Narendra Modi met Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal and External Affairs Minister S.J. Ishankar on Monday to reportedly discuss the upcoming tariff talks. Besides, two high-powered delegations from Washington, including National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, are also expected to visit India next month, The Hindu reported. It is estimated by New Delhi that reciprocal tariffs would hit 87 of its total exports to the U.S. worth $66 billion, two government sources with knowledge of the matter told Reuters. Under the deal, India is open to reducing tariffs on 55 of U.S. goods it imports that are now subject to tariffs ranging from 5 to 30, Reuters reported. In this category of goods, India is ready to substantially lower tariffs or even scrap some entirely, on imported goods worth more than $23 billion from the U.S. Overall, the U.S. trade-weighted average tariff has been 2.2, the World Trade Organization data shows, compared with India's 12. The U.S. has a trade deficit of $45.6 billion with India. Indian government officials warned that cutting tariffs on more than half of U.S. imports hinges on securing relief from reciprocal tax. The tariff cut decision was not final, with other options under discussion such as sectoral adjustments of tariffs and product-by-product negotiations rather than a wide cut, Reuters reported, quoting an official. India is also considering wider tariff reform to lower barriers uniformly, but such discussions are in early stages and might not figure immediately in talks with the U.S., said one of the officials. Nanan Trump had said last week that he shares a very good relationship with India. But the only problem he has with the country is that it is one of the highest tariffing nations in the world. I have a very good relationship with India, but the only problem I have with India is they're one of the highest tariffing nations in the world. I believe they're going to probably be lowering those tariffs substantially, but on April 2nd, we will be charging them the same tariffs they charge us, Trump told Breitbart News, an American news, opinion, and commentary website, in an interview. On March 5, Trump criticized the high tariffs charged by India and other countries, terming them as very unfair, and announced reciprocal tariffs from April 2 on nations that impose tax on American goods. If you don't make your product in America, however, under the Trump administration, you will pay a tariff, and in some cases, a rather large one. PTI quoted Trump as saying. Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries. On average, the European Union, China, Brazil, India, Mexico, and Canada, have you heard of them, and countless other nations charge us tremendously higher tariffs than we charge them, Trump said. It's very unfair. India charges us auto tariffs higher than 100, he added. India-US trade, including goods and services, will reach $200 billion, with a trade deficit of about $45 billion in India's favor, which Trump has asked India to address. In an interview to the Allen podcast over the weekend, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said he had raised the sharp divide in deficits and in import duties during PM Modi's visit to Washington in February. He said India has an average 50 tariff on imports compared with the U.S. 4, and that India protects its farmers. Nana New Delhi estimated increases of 6 to 10 in tariffs on items such as pearls, mineral fuels, machinery, boilers and electrical equipment, which make up half its exports to the U.S., due to reciprocal tax, Reuters reported. The second official said the $11 billion worth of pharmaceutical and automotive exports could see the most impact due to reciprocal tariff, given their dependence on the U.S. market. The new tariffs could benefit alternative suppliers like Indonesia, Israel, and Vietnam, the official added. Tariffs on meat, maize, wheat, and dairy products that range from 30 to 60 are off the table, a government official told Reuters. But those on almonds, pistachio, oatmeal, and quinoa may be eased. Lutnick asked India to think big after it cut tariffs on high-end motorcycles and bourbon whiskey this year. New Delhi will also push for phased cuts in automobile tariffs, now effectively more than 100, a fourth official said. Nanan India did not want to lose the U.S. as a trading partner, Sunil Barthwal told the Parliamentary Standing Committee, but vowed at the same time, we will not compromise on our national interest, according to two people who attended the Clausedor meeting. India must be cautious while negotiating the trade agreement with the U.S., as the absence of fast-track trade authority in America makes any pact vulnerable to congressional changes, economic think tank Global Trade Research Initiative GTRI said on Tuesday. It also said the certification process allows the U.S. to effectively renegotiate the trade agreement after it is signed, demanding domestic legal changes, regulatory reforms, and policy shifts that could undermine India's sovereignty. The U.S. Fast-Track Trade Authority, also known as Trade Promotion Authority, is a special mechanism that allows the American president to negotiate trade agreements and present them to Congress for an up or down vote without amendments or procedural delays. This authority has historically played a key role in finalizing and approving FTA's free trade agreements swiftly, having enabled major agreements such as the North American Free Trade Agreement. With inputs from PTNN. Why IPL fans have already singled out Sanjeev Goenka of Lucknow Super Giants. IPL 2025 Sanjeev Goenka, the owner of Lucknow Super Giants, has been scrutinized by IPL fans. But why IPL 2025 has only just kicked off and fans of the beloved league have already singled out Sanjeev Goenka. The owner of the Lucknow Super Giants franchise has been in their radar since the previous season and beyond, but now, Goenka's actions are under scrutiny more than ever. Be it his dressing room talk addressing his team after a loss or visuals of him chatting up with the new captain Rishabh Pant, Goenka is being surveilled quite closely by cricket viewers who are keeping close tabs on LSG owner's actions. What has a franchise owner done to deserve this? No mention of Goenka is ever done without taking the name of KL Rahul. That's just the reality of it. Rahul captained Lucknow Super Giants for 3 seasons and led the side from the front in IPL 2024 where he also finished as the leading run scorer for the team. But it was perhaps the wicket-keeper batter's infamous interaction with the LSG owner Goenka that has remained etched in the minds of cricket loyalists. It was a match between Lucknow Super Giants and Sunrisers Hyderabad. Venue Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium in Hyderabad. LSG won the toss and decided to bet first. 1,654 was put up on the scoreboard by them. Rahul, who opened the innings, scored 29 in 33 deliveries. Then came out Abhishek Sharma and Travis Head. The SRH batters were in no mood to play out 20 overs. The duo went berserk. LSG bowlers had no clue to stop the onslaught. KL Rahul watched on. Sharma 75 off 28 and Head 89 off 30 wrapped up the match in under 10 overs. SRH won the match with as many as 62 spare deliveries. All 10 wickets were secure in their bag. Also read David Miller didn't deserve this. Why heartbreak interview by Lucknow Super Giants was in poor taste when a battered LSG made their way back after being smoked by SRH. All eyes were on KL Rahul. He was the captain, after all. And Goenka wasted no time in discussing the humiliating loss with him. With cameras panned on them, Goenka had an outburst. The LSG owner looked in an irate mood as his chat and animated body language left Rahul speechless. Despite their crushing loss, cricket fans sided with Rahul for he had received a beating down out in open. Even the commentators remarked that such a conversation between the owner and captain should have taken place behind closed doors. Goenka was panned widely. KL Rahul's 3-year stint in the LSG camp had reached a bitter conclusion. The cricketer was not retained by the franchise. The 32-year-old was bought by Delhi Capitals for Rs 14 crore in the IPL 2025 mega auction. Later the cricketer revealed that Goenka's heated chat did have repercussions on the entire team and not just him. Whatever happened on the field after the game wasn't the nicest thing to be part of or something that anyone wants to see on the cricket field. I think it did affect the entire group, Rahul told in an interview to StarSports. Nanan Rahul's redemption came in the Champions Trophy 2025 where India emerged as the most successful side in the coveted tournament with 3 titles. Though he wasn't making big runs coming late down the order, his tally of 136 runs for men in blue in the tournament were invaluable to the team. It was, however, his unbeaten 34 against New Zealand in the finals that won him praises for being calm and composed in what turned out to be a tricky run chase of 252 runs. I don't think I can say this on camera but I was shitting myself, a relieved Rahul said after the Champions Trophy triumph. Hard to put it into words, pure skill and the way we've all played our cricket growing up, had to face a lot of challenges, we've had to face pressure from the time we've held a bat and decided to become professional cricketers. The way the BCCI has groomed us and the domestic circuit has trained us to handle pressure and do well in circumstances like these, he concluded. Also read he has always been LSG owner Sanjeev Goenka praises very talented KL Rahul. Goenka was added to fan edits and reels that showed low moments of Rahul's career to him eventually rising from them. Nanan Rishabh Pant's debut as the Lucknow Super Giants captain was a forgettable one. Pant was dismissed for a 6 ball duck in LSG's steep score of 2098 thanks to swift 50s from Nicholas Puran and Mitch Marsh. In response, Delhi Capitals was down and out, wobbling at 655 at one stage. But Delhi debutant Ashutosh Sharma 66 off 31 along with Vipraj Nigam 39 off 15 pulled off a remarkable run chase, winning the match by only a wicket and 3 balls to spare. Goenka met up with the glum team. Lots of positives that I take away from this game. The way we had the power play in both batting and bowling was brilliant. These things happen. We are a young team. Let's look at the positives and look forward from tomorrow to the 27th. And hopefully, we'll have a better result. Disappointing result, yes. But a great game. So well done, Goenka addressed his team in the dressing room after the loss. Also read why Saratoga water has seen rapid spike in Google searches. This meme is literally bananas good thing, right? The owner was lifting the morale of the team. IPL fans and social media commenters found Goenka's act performative, one that was rather staged to cleanse his image. Others objected to the very fact that the LSG owner, who had never held a bat or ball in life, was tutoring a room of Zahir Khan, Lance Klusener and Justin Langer on cricket.pr to clean up what he did to KL last year. LOL, the way this franchise tries different things to show people but ends up being stupid getting cooked, remarked an ex-user. Nanan will Rishabh Pant face a similar wrath after their loss to Delhi Capitals. The LSG owner was seen chatting up with Pant, the new skip who was bought by the franchise for a record-breaking Rs 27 crore. The chat instantly brought back the memories of Rahul's interaction with the LSG owner. Rahul, whose new team Delhi Capitals defeated his former team, has taken a few days off from IPL to spend time with his wife Athaya Shetty. The couple recently welcomed their daughter. Nan. Tesla vandalism when owning Elon Musk electric vehicle drives world nuts. Vandalism of Tesla cars, companies' showrooms, and charging stations have been reported not only in the US but elsewhere as well. Hey race why? It began with Teslas being keyed by strangers in random parking lots. Owners deduced the incidents were carried out of pure jealousy. The petrol and diesel guzzling engine drivers couldn't wrap their heads around battery-powered four-wheelers becoming the next cool thing. The insecurity and acts of vandalism both were captured by Tesla's onboard cameras. The videos multiplied by the day. The commenters were puzzled and livid. Owners were exhausted but life went on. Come 2025, Tesla vandalism has taken an ugly turn. One that has shaped up into a form of a global protest. But what would one gain by attacking a car or a charging station? And Tesla chief Elon Musk, no alien to controversies, has been a staunch supporter of US President Donald Trump. Musk, who led the campaign in support of Trump leading up to the US elections, reserved a spot in the Trump administration. Musk, now the head of the US Department of Government Efficiency DOGE, is facing severe criticism for his aggressive attempts in downsizing and remodeling the federal workforce. Also read why IPL fans have already singled out Sanjeev Goenka of Lucknow Super Giants. Consistent with the president's instructions, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation, Musk said in a post on X in February. What did you do last week? The subject of Musk's email read. No response meant termination. Trump and Musk's union to speed up the shrinking of federal workforce has reportedly led to numerous mistakes, including the axing of critical resources working on nuclear safety, defense, and power generation. Also read submit work report or lose job. Elon Musk to US government employees as Doge pushes for job cuts. Nannies with mounting criticism around Musk's actions at the Doge. Vandalism of Tesla cars, companies' showrooms, and charging stations have been reported not only in the US but elsewhere as well. Elon is Nazi scum. Read a graffiti at a defaced Tesla supercharger in San Diego. 2 shootings have been carried out at the Tesla dealership in Oregon in March alone. A report by King stated that 6 Tesla Cybertrucks in Seattle's Linwood were vandalized with swastikas and ugly messages directed at Musk. Another 7 Tesla charging stations at a mall near Boston were set ablaze. There are many more such instances. Calling the arson and the host of vandalisms crazy, Tesla chief, in an X post, suggested that transgender people were behind the attacks and that the hormone injections could have contributed to their emotional volatility leading to such attacks. With Tesla owners caught directly in the crossfire and company becoming the hot target of heated protests, President Trump vowed to purchase a Tesla to show solidarity to the billionaire. Tesla's car sales have reportedly declined worldwide owing to the continued protests and growing disdain against Musk's antics enabled by the Trump administration. Also read Elon Musk slams crazy vandalism as backlash against him turns Tesla into a target. Nannies, how do you tell the world that you do not support Musk? Simply by telling the world that you don't. A photo of a Tesla vehicle with a bumper sticker recently went viral on Elon Musk's social media platform X. I bought this before we knew Elon was crazy, the bumper sticker read. The user wrote that they had captured the photo of the vehicle near Seattle. Nanan peacefully protesting against Musk was one thing, but damaging properties and targeting Tesla owners were not the solution but plain acts of crime, opined a few users on Reddit. I genuinely don't understand why some people think vandalizing Teslas is some kind of moral stand. It's not. It's just stupid and harmful to regular people who have nothing to do with Elon Musk's nonsense. A lot of people bought Teslas before Musk started going off the deep end, a Reddit user wrote. It can be a reason that would prevent someone from buying a new Tesla, which hurts Elon's pockets, wrote another in a counterpoint. The folk getting their Teslas vandalized should blame Musk for that as much as the people who vandalize the cars, a third chimed. Nan. Justice Pharma case puts spotlight back on judge's appointment system, NJAC vs Collegium explained. VP Thankar has said he was bothered by the Justice Pharma incident, and things would have been different if the NJAC for judicial appointments had not been struck down by the Supreme Court. The allegations of cash recovery from Delhi High Court's Judge Justice Yashwant Varma's residence has rekindled the debate on the National Judicial Appointments Commission NJAC Act, which was passed by Parliament in 2014, but was struck down by the Supreme Court in 2015. Vice President Jagdeep Thankar, while addressing the Rajya Sabha on Tuesday, said he was bothered by the incident, and referred to the NJAC Act, which was meant to replace the collegium system. It is not as if executive, judiciary, and legislature are pitted against each other, Thankar remarked. Thankar also held a meeting with floor leaders of parties to discuss the issue. His remarks came on the day a 3-member committee was formed by the Supreme Court to inquire into the conduct of Justice Varma. The committee, comprising Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court Justice Sheel Nagu, Chief Justice of Himachal Pradesh High Court Justice G.S. Sandhawalia, and Justice Anu Sivaraman of Karnataka High Court, reached Justice Varma's Tughlaq Crescent bungalow at around 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday and left after nearly 45 minutes. Nanan Collegium is the system of appointment of judges of the higher judiciary, which evolved through a series of Supreme Court judgments known as judges' cases. The central government has been criticizing the opaque nature of the collegium system behind a large number of judicial vacancies. The NDA government in 2003 introduced the Constitution 98th Amendment Bill in the Lok Sabha for the formation of the National Judicial Commission NJC. The NJC would be chaired by the CJI, with 2 of the senior-most judges of the Supreme Court as its members. The Union Law Minister would be a member along with an eminent citizen to be nominated by the President in consultation with the Prime Minister. The NJC would decide the appointment and transfer of judges and probe cases of misconduct by judges, including those from the highest judiciary. Thus, in 2014, the NDA government introduced the National Judicial Appointments Commission NJAC Act to provide the executive branch a significant role in selecting judges for the higher courts. The NJAC bill and the Constitutional Amendment Bill were ratified by 16 Indian state legislatures before being signed by President Pranab Mukherjee on December 31, 2014. The NJAC Act and the Constitutional Amendment Act went into effect on April 13, 2015. But the Supreme Court had in 2015 struck down the JAC Act and the Constitution 99th Amendment Act, 2014, leading to the revival of the collegium system of existing judges appointing judges to constitutional courts. The bench, headed by the then CJI J.S. Kehar, asserted in the matter of appointment of judges to the higher judiciary, as also in the matter of their transfer, the primacy in the decision-making process inevitably rests with the Chief Justice of India. Nanan the collegium system, headed by a Chief Justice, decides the appointment and transfer of judges. The forum consists of 4 senior-most Supreme Court judges as well. The collegium decides the elevation of Chief Justices, judges of High Court to the Supreme Court, judges of High Courts as Chief Justices and other judges. In case of a difference of opinion, the majority view will prevail. A High Court collegium consists of the 2 judges with the next 2 highest ranks. This collegium suggests candidates for the High Court positions. A collegium of the Chief Justice and Supreme Court's 2 senior-most judges takes the final call. The Supreme Court had recently agreed to hear a petition against the collegium. The petition sought a new mechanism for the appointment. The matter was mentioned by Advocate Matthews J. Nedumpera before a bench comprising former CJI Chandrachud, Justice Hima Kohli and Justice J.B. Purdiwala. In the plea, Nedumpera and others asked the court to declare collegium synonym for nepotism and favoritism, as it has resulted in the denial of fair opportunity in the selection and appointment of judges. Nanan Article 124 mentions that the appointment of Supreme Court judges should be made by the President after consultation with such judges of the High Courts and the Supreme Court as the President may deem necessary. The CJI is to be consulted in all appointments, except his or her own. Article 217 deals with the appointment of High Court judges. It says a judge should be appointed by the President after consultation with the CJI and the Governor of the state. The Chief Justice of the High Court concerned too should be consulted. Nanan the collegium system has its genesis in a series of 3 judgments, which has been clubbed as the 3 judges cases. Following the S.P. Gupta case on December 30, 1981, popularly known as the first judge's case, it was recommended that the executive branch should have the most influence over judicial nominations. 12 years later, in 1993, in the second judge's case, a 9-judge court ruled that the CJI must be given preference in such appointments. In 1998, President K.R. Narayanan issued a presidential reference to the Supreme Court as to what the term consultation really means in Articles 124, 217 and 222. Transfer of HC judges of the Constitution. The question was if the term consultation requires consulting a number of judges informing the CJI's opinion, or whether the sole opinion of the CJI constituted the meaning of the articles. In reply, the Supreme Court laid down 9 guidelines for the functioning of the quorum for appointments transfers. This came to be the present form of the collegium. Besides, the third judge's case judgment dated October 28, 1998, written by Justice S.P. Barucha as the head of the 9-judge bench, strongly reinforced the concept of a primacy of the highest judiciary over the executive. Nan. First past the post writings and Indian origin votes. Canadian elections explained. Canada follows the first past the post FPTP system, where elections determine the composition of the House of Commons. As Canada prepares for its upcoming general elections on April 28, the nation's political machinery is in full swing. Conducted under the parliamentary system inherited from Britain, Canada follows the first past the post FPTP system, where elections determine the composition of the House of Commons. The country is divided into 338 electoral districts, known as ridings, with each riding electing a single member of Parliament MP. The candidate securing the highest number of votes wins the seat, irrespective of whether they achieve a majority. Nanan in the first past the post FPTP model, the candidate with the most votes in a given riding wins the seat. Unlike proportional representation systems, FPTP does not require candidates to secure a majority more than 50 of the votes. Instead, the candidate with the highest vote count among competitors wins. While this system allows for straightforward election outcomes, it sometimes results in governments being formed without majority public support, leading to debates about electoral reform. Nanan with elections set for April 28, parties are in the final stages of campaigning, rallying their bases, and making last-minute appeals to undecided voters. As Canada heads to the polls, the outcome will not only shape the nation's governance for the next 4 years but also set the course for its political landscape in an increasingly complex global environment. Nanan Canadian politics is largely dominated by 2 major parties, the Liberal Party and the Conservative Party. However, several other parties play influential roles, especially in minority government scenarios. Nanan historical trends in government formation. Canada's political history has largely alternated between Liberal and Conservative rule. The Liberals secured victories in 2015 and 2019, whereas the Conservatives governed from 2006 to 2015. The NDP and Bloc Qua Copyright BA Copyright COIS, while not forming governments, often play decisive roles when no single party wins an outright majority. In such cases, the party with the most seats can either form a minority government or seek coalition support from smaller parties. Nanan general elections in Canada are conducted nationwide on a single day, ensuring a uniform electoral process across all provinces and territories. Elections Canada, an independent body, oversees the electoral process, ensuring fairness, transparency, and compliance with spending regulations. The voting age is set at 19, and elections are typically held every 4 years, barring special circumstances. Canada's parliamentary structure consists of two houses: the House of Commons, which is elected through general elections, and the Senate, whose members are appointed rather than elected. The leader of the party that secures the most seats in the House of Commons becomes the Prime Minister, provided they can command a stable government. Nanan Canada is widely recognized as a strong democracy with fair electoral processes. Observers and political representatives are allowed to monitor voting and counting, ensuring transparency. However, disparities exist in electoral power due to the varying population sizes of provinces. Larger provinces like Ontario and Quebec hold more seats, giving them greater political influence, which smaller provinces sometimes perceive as an imbalance. Nanan a significant factor in the upcoming elections is the influence of Canada's Indian origin and Sikh communities. With a population of approximately 16 lakh, making up around 4% of Canada's total population, these communities wield considerable electoral power, particularly in Ontario, British Columbia, and Alberta. The Liberal Party has historically enjoyed strong support from Indian Canadian voters, partly due to policies favouring immigration in the past. However, the recent diplomatic tensions between Canada and India may impact voting dynamics in the 2025 election. The Sikh community, in particular, has played a prominent role in Canadian politics. The 2019 elections saw 18 Sikh MPs elected, surpassing the number of Sikh representatives in India's own parliament. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh continues to be a key figure in Canadian politics, and his party's performance in 2025 will likely be influenced by Sikh voters. Given this strong political presence, all major parties including the Liberals, Conservatives, and NDP are actively courting Indian Canadian and Sikh support. Nan. How ChatGPT is making its frequent users lonelier. New research explained. MIT and OpenAI studies said those with stronger emotional attachment tendencies experienced more loneliness. In contrast, those with a higher level of trust in ChatGPT experienced more emotional dependence. A research by MIT Media Lab and OpenAI has shown that frequent users of ChatGPT may tend to feel high levels of loneliness and get more emotionally dependent on the AI tool. The studies underlined that only a small number of users engage emotionally with ChatGPT, but those who do are among the heaviest users. Overall, higher daily usage across all modalities and conversation types correlated with higher loneliness, dependence, and problematic use, and lower socialization, the researchers said in an abstract for the two parallel studies. Nanan the studies set out to investigate how daily interactions with ChatGPT affect a user's emotional health, with a focus on the use of the chatbot's advanced voice mode. The research included a randomized controlled trial RCT by MIT, in which 1,000 participants used ChatGPT over 4 weeks, and an automated analysis of nearly 40 million ChatGPT interactions. Conducted by OpenAI. Both the studies concluded that those with stronger emotional attachment tendencies tended to experience more loneliness. In contrast, those with a higher level of trust in the chatbot experienced more emotional dependence. They also pointed out that power users tended to consider ChatGPT as their friend or someone with human-like emotions. Personal conversations with the AI tool were correlated with higher levels of loneliness among users. The study highlighted. Results showed that while voice-based chatbots initially appeared beneficial in mitigating loneliness and dependence compared with text-based chatbots, these advantages diminished at high usage levels, especially with a neutral voice chatbot, the researchers said. Nanan with more than 400 million active weekly users worldwide, many people are turning to ChatGPT for advices, suggestions, and companionship. According to a 2024 YouGov survey, just over half of young Americans aged 18 to 29 felt comfortable speaking to an AI about mental health concerns. Another study even suggests that OpenAI's chatbot gives better personal advice than professional columnists. While some users say the chatbot help ease their loneliness, there has been increasing scrutiny and research on the ill effects of the interacting with the AI tool. Recently, AI company Character.ai has been sued for its concerning interactions with minors. The researchers said the new findings underscore the complex interplay between chatbot design choices, e.g., voice expressiveness, and user behaviors, e.g., conversation content, usage frequency, and called for further work to investigate whether chatbots' ability to manage emotional content without fostering dependence or replacing human relationships benefits overall well-being. As reported by Fortune. Nanan the researchers found some intriguing differences between how men and women use ChatGPT. After using the chatbot for 4 weeks, female study participants were slightly less likely to socialize with people than their male counterparts who did the same. While participants who interacted with chat's voice mode in a gender that was not their own for their interactions reported significantly higher levels of loneliness and more emotional dependency on the chatbot at the end of the experiment. In 2023, MIT Media Lab researchers found that chatbots tend to mirror the emotional sentiment of a user's messages, suggesting a kind of feedback loop where the happier you act, the happier the AI seems, or if you act sadder, so does the AI. Nanandr Andrew Rogoski, a director at the Surrey Institute for People-Centered Artificial Intelligence, told Guardian that because people were hardwired to think of a machine behaving in human-like ways as a human, AI chatbots could be dangerous, and far more research was needed to understand their social and emotional impacts. In my opinion, we are doing open brain surgery on humans, poking around with our basic emotional wiring with no idea of the long-term consequences. We've seen some of the downsides of social media. This is potentially much more far-reaching, he told Guardian. Kate Devlin, a professor of AI and Society at King's College London, told MIT Technology Review, although the research is welcome, it is still difficult to identify when a human is and isn't engaging with technology on an emotional level. She says the study participants may have been experiencing emotions that were not recorded by the researchers. Nan. The Habitat. How Mumbai venue became scapegoat in comedian Kunal Kamra controversy. The Habitat where Kunal Kamra had shot his YouTube special found itself in political firestorm. Shiv Sena workers descended upon the Habitat after Kamra's skit on Eknath Shinde caused furor. Temporarily closed, reads Habitat's status upon a Google search. The Habitat, a venue that once hosted stand-up comedians, poets, and musicians, has shut down indefinitely. The venue became the center of controversy where comedian Kunal Kamra had shot his recent political satire special titled Naya Bharat. Kamra, in his special, targeted Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, calling him a Gaddar. Angered by the alleged defamatory remarks, Shiv Sena workers' Eknath Shinde faction descended upon the venue and caused mayhem. Videos of the act were taped and shared online as vandalism of the property caused a massive uproar far and wide. Mumbai lacks parks, public spaces, affordable hangouts. No vibrant cafe culture like Del or BLR. Not everyone can afford a 5,000-seat at NMAC. Youth are priced out of leisure. Habitat was a refuge, now it's gone. A city without art or culture is just real estate, a user on X wrote in a grim post. Nanan located inside the Hotel Unicontinental in Mumbai's Car, the Habitat was a hotspot for budding artists and comedians to showcase their talent and engage in creative outlet. A space for stand-up comedy, improv comedy, storytelling, intimate music gigs, performance poetry, movie screenings, live sports screenings, open mics, and smaller conferences. The description on the Habitat's website reads. Also read why IPL fans have already singled out Sanjeev Goenka of Lucknow Super Giants. The Habitat is known for its live gig recording services. A super cozy space with state-of-the-art audio and video recording. Several stand-up comedy specials, comedy gigs, and poetry videos are recorded live at the Habitat. Comedians Varun Grover, Abhishek Upmanyu, Bisway Kalyan Rath, Sonali Thakur among others have taken the stage at the Habitat and filmed and released their comedy sets on YouTube to millions of views. Founded by Balraj Singh Gai, a 53-year-old Mumbai-based businessman, the Habitat Club opened its doors in 2016. Gai took over his father's hotel and incorporated a venue to accommodate quick bites, beverages, and live acts. Nanan the Habitat is not involved in the making of the recent video of Kunal Kamra and does not endorse the views expressed in it. We extend a sincere and heartfelt apology to all those hurt by the video. The studio swiftly apologized as Kamra's video gained sizable traction across social media platforms. In a follow-up post on their Instagram handle, the comedy club announced that they were shutting down. Artists are solely responsible for their views and creative choices. We have never been involved in the content performed by any artist, but the recent events have made us rethink about how we get blamed and targeted every time, almost like we are a proxy for the performer, the club wrote. We are shocked, worried, and extremely broken by the recent acts of vandalism targeting us. We are shutting down till we figure out the best way to provide a platform for free expression without putting ourselves and our property in jeopardy. We invite all artists, audience, and stakeholders to discuss and share their views freely and request your guidance so that we also respect the performer's rights, the studio wrote in the post. The studio further urged for constructive conversations and not destruction, and that they did not support hate or harm of any kind. Nanan a total of 12 party workers were arrested and later granted bail after videos of the Habitat being defaced floated online. The cops registered a case against 40 Shiv Sena workers. An entertainment venue is merely a platform, a space for all sorts of shows. Habitat or any other venue is not responsible for my comedy, nor does it have any power or control over what I say or do. Neither does any political party. Kamra slammed the Shiv Sena in a strong-worded response to the controversy. Also read why are people donating money to comedian Kunal Kamra on YouTube. Anani's Veer Das, a veteran, in an Instagram post, highlighted that Kamra and the venue weren't the only ones caught in a spot. But many lost their job after the Habitat's closure. While everyone has a larger discussion, as they should, I'd like to direct your attention to a smaller picture. Last month, this week, and for the indefinite future at the Habitat, an artistic venue in Mumbai. You will find people without work. These include waiters, cooks, sound engineers, light engineers, kitchen staff, front of house staff, writers, poets, new comedians in multiple languages, professional comedians in multiple languages, improv artists, theatre plays, video editors, filmmakers, and storytellers. Das wrote. Nanan Camera took shots at Shiv Sena chief Eknath Shinde using the altered lyrics of Bholi Si Surat track from 1997's Dil to Pagal Hai. Mary Nazar Se Tum Dekho to Gadar Nazar Wo Ei, Camera said while reading out the lyrics of the popular song on stage. The modified song was to highlight Shin's rebellion against Uddhav Thackeray's MVA government in Maharashtra in 2022. This was received well by the audience at the Habitat. Camera later asserted that he would not fold and apologize. As far as I know, it is not against the law to poke fun at our leaders and the circus that is our political system, he wrote. I don't fear this mob and I will not be hiding under my bed waiting for this to die down. Nanan Samay Raina's YouTube show India's Got Latent, which was immensely popular among the masses, was halted in its tracks last month after one of his guests, Ranveer Alhabadiya aka Beer Biceps, asked one of the contestants on the show a question that stirred nationwide controversy that even the Supreme Court of India had to step in. The question was, watch your parents have sex every day for the rest of your life? Or would you join in once and stop it forever? India's Got Latent faced shutdown and all the videos related to the show vanished from YouTube. Paramjit Singh Gai, father of the Habitat owner, was a frequent on the panel of the show and extended his support towards Raina and other artists. Hello, friends. You know me by the name Papa Guy. A true gentleman gave you the Habitat, gave you laughter, brought humor into life. And these youngsters, what are they doing? They are giving you real, unfiltered laughter. Are we really going to put so many obstacles in the way of humor and laughter? He said in the video. Comedy is back at the Habitat. Read the Instagram caption of the noteletted video. Nan. Sabarimala in focus after Mohanlal's puja for Mamawati. A look at temple's history, beliefs, past controversies. The latest uproar began when Malayalam superstar Mohanlal visited the temple to offer prayers for his actor friend Mammootty. The Sabarimala temple in Kerala is back in the news with another controversy, but this time, the controversy is not related to the issue of menstruating women. The latest uproar began when Malayalam superstar Mohanlal visited the temple to offer prayers for his actor friend Mammootty. A receipt of Mohanlal's visit on March 18, which went viral on social media, sparked strong reactions on the platform. The receipt, which listed Mammootty's birth name, Muhammad Kutty, led some people to question the appropriateness of offering prayers at a Hindu temple for Mammootty, given his Islamic faith. This latest row has brought the spotlight back on the prominent Hindu temple, which has been at the center of controversies in the past. Also read how controversy over halal jaggery broke out at Sabarimala temple. About Sabarimala temple. Sabarimala, located in the Periyar Tiger Reserve in Pathanamthitta district, Kerala, is the abode of Lord Ayyappa, the god of growth. The temple is famous for hosting one of the largest annual pilgrimages in the world, attracting millions of devotees who endure long treks to climb the 18 gold-plated steps that lead to the shrine. The temple is dedicated to Lord Ayyappa, believed to be the son of Shiva and Mohini, the feminine incarnation of Vishnu. It is managed by the Travancore Devaswam Board, an entity under the Kerala government. The temple is open for worship during specific periods, including Mandala Puja November-December, Makara Sankranti January 14th, Maha Vishuva Sankranti April 14th, and the first 5 days of each Malayalam month. There are several routes to the temple, with the Arumli route being the most traditional and challenging, covering about 61 km through forest and hills. Historical origins. The temple's origins date back centuries. It was believed to have been founded by Lord Parshuram, and it is one of the 5 Sastha temples established by him. However, for nearly 3 centuries, the temple was largely inaccessible due to geographical challenges. In the 12th century, Prince Manikandan of the Pandalam dynasty rediscovered the path to the temple, attracting followers including the descendants of Vavar, a Muslim warrior whom Manikandan had defeated. Manikandan is considered an incarnation of Lord Ayyappa, and it is said that he meditated at the temple and became one with the divine. Beliefs and practices. Sabarimala pilgrims are expected to undergo strict rituals before visiting the temple. One of the key practices is the observance of celibacy for 41 days prior to the pilgrimage. They must also adhere to a lacto-vegetarian diet, refrain from alcohol, avoid profanity, and refrain from cutting their hair or nails. Pilgrims are expected to bathe twice a day and visit local temples regularly. During the pilgrimage, they wear black or blue clothes, refrain from shaving, and apply Vibhuti sandal paste to their foreheads. Also read Meet the Women Who Made History by Entering Sabarimala. Controversy over menstruating women. One of the temple's most notable and controversial traditions involves the restriction on menstruating women entering the shrine. This practice has been followed for centuries, with devotees believing that Lord Ayyappa, being celibate, should not be disturbed by women of menstruating age. There are 2 prominent legends explain this tradition. One suggests that Lord Ayyappa refused to marry Malaika Purathama, a demoness, who proposed marriage to him after he defeated her. The Lord's condition was that he would marry her only when devotees stopped visiting him. The other version considers Lord Ayyappa as a historical figure who, after defeating an Arab invader named Babar or Vavar, chose to remain celibate and avoid contact with women. As a result, A de facto ban on women between the ages of 10 and 50 has existed for many years, under the belief that their presence would disturb the celibate nature of the deity. Legal battle and protests. The issue of women's entry into Sabarimala has been a long-standing legal and political battle. In 1991, the Kerala High Court had imposed a ban on women aged between 10 and 50 from entering the temple, citing the celibate nature of Lord Ayyappa. However, in 2018, the Supreme Court of India lifted the ban, declaring it unconstitutional and discriminatory. The court ruled by a 41 majority that the restriction violated women's right to equality. The five-judge bench, besides Judge Indu Malhotra, had held that this age-old Hindu religious practice was illegal. The fallout from the Supreme Court's ruling was that it led to massive protests by right-wing groups, aided by political parties, who called it an attack on the Hindu faith and customs and did not allow women to enter for months despite the ruling. Nan. How India's secret kamikaze drones could change the face of modern warfare explained. Experts believe low-cost drones and loitering munitions have emerged as critical force multipliers in modern conflicts, as has been seen in the Ukraine-Russia war referred to as loitering munitions. The kamikaze drones have taken modern warfare to another level. These advanced weapons combine the surveillance capabilities of an unmanned aerial vehicle UAV with the precision of a guided missile. These weapons do not simply follow a predetermined trajectory, they loiter, track and strike at the opportune time. Nan. A loitering munition, also known as a suicide drone, kamikaze drone, or exploding drone, is a kind of aerial weapon with a munition warhead, which can loiter wait passively around the target area until a target is located. It then attacks the target by crashing into it. Loitering munitions enable faster reaction times against hidden targets that emerge for short periods without placing high-value platforms near the target area, and also allow more selective targeting. The earliest loitering munitions systems were used in the 1980s in suppression of enemy air defenses siege against fixed surface-to-air missile SAMS installations. With time, the role of these LMS grew for short-range 215 km, medium-range 1,550 km and long-range 50100 km for various mission operations like anti-personnel, anti-bunker, anti-armor, and the destruction of critical enemy assets like air bases, missile bases and other critical infrastructure. Nan. In 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, both Azerbaijan and Armenia used drones for reconnaissance, intelligence gathering, and targeted strikes. The use of drones, including both UAVs and loitering munitions, played a significant role in the conflict by providing real-time situational awareness and the ability to conduct precision strikes on enemy positions. Azerbaijan, in particular, employed a variety of drones, including Israeli-made drones such as the Harop loitering munition, as well as Turkish-made drones like the Bayraktar TB2. 2022 Russia-Ukraine war. Despite their small size, loitering munitions have achieved big results in the Ukrainian large-scale war of attrition, an unnamed defense analyst said. Compared with the Russian army's use of loitering munitions, which mainly attack large targets, the Ukrainian army's loitering munitions are more likely to be used for hunting moving human targets on the front line. In the Middle East, Israel has relied on Harop loitering munitions, capable of carrying a 23 kg payload, to conduct precision strikes. Meanwhile, Iran's Shahid-136 drones, used extensively by Russia, have proven that cheap, mass-produced drones can overwhelm even sophisticated air defense systems. Nan. Experts believe low-cost drones and loitering munitions have emerged as critical force multipliers in modern conflicts, as has been seen in the Ukraine-Russia war. Russia's use of Iranian-made Shahid drones to target Ukraine's infrastructure and Ukraine's successful deployment of Turkish Bayraktar TB2 drones have demonstrated the effectiveness of these technologies, according to a report by the Economic Times. Experts pointed out that a single 500 loitering drone can destroy a 10 million tank. This reinforces the fact that there is an urgent need for robust counter-drone systems, including electronic warfare tools, kinetic interceptors, and directed energy weapons. Nan. The Indian Army recently received 480 loitering munitions made by a Nagpur-based defense manufacturing firm with over 75 indigenous content. Nagastra 1, the first indigenous loiter munition developed by Solar Industries in Nagpur, supplied the complete lot of 480 loitering munitions in December, defense officials said. The system is man-portable and light and is intended to be used for precision strike capabilities by the Army troops, officials said. The Sky Striker drone, already in service, has a range of 500 km and is designed for suppression of enemy air defenses siege. In March 2022, Z-Motion Autonomous Systems successfully tested 3 loitering munitions in Ladakh, demonstrating their effectiveness at 40 lower costs than imported alternatives. Tata Advanced Systems ALS-50, a vertical takeoff and landing VTOL drone that transitions to fixed-wing mode, has also completed successful trials at Pokhran. In 2021, India's army demonstrated its capability with a 75 drone swarm, executing coordinated attacks over a 50 km range, as per the Economic Times report. By 2023, Newspace Research Technologies delivered an even more advanced system, a swarm of 100 drones designed for battlefield deployment. More focus is being shown towards AI-driven drones capable of detecting enemy assets through acoustic sensors. The National Aerospace Laboratories is working on a stealthy, long-range loitering munition weighing 150 kg, designed to strike targets 900 kilometers away with an endurance of 69 hours. Nanan. The Ministry of Defence recently said 65 of India's defence equipment is now manufactured domestically, a significant shift from an earlier 70 import dependence. Defence production hit a record Rs 1.27 lakh crore in 202,324, marking a 174 increase from a decade ago. With defence exports also surging to Rs 21,083 crore, India aims to reach Rs 50,000 crore in exports by 2029. The government's focus is clear: indigenous development, private sector participation, and rapid technological advancement. The Cabinet Committee on Security recently approved the purchase of 307 advanced towed artillery gun systems ATAGS, developed by DRDO in collaboration with Bharat Forge and Tata Advanced Systems. These next-generation artillery systems, with a range of over 40 kilometers and advanced automation, will significantly boost India's firepower. Nan. Royal Challengers Bangalore trolled over this smartphone partnership in IPL 2025. Hey Race Y IPL 2025. Virat Kohli's Royal Challengers Bangalore recently announced a partnership with Nothing Phone Company, and fans had a light bulb moment. Royal Challengers Bangalore are one of the most followed franchises in the Indian Premier League, and there is no dearth of brands confidently backing the Rajat Patidar side. Studded with stars such as Virat Kohli, Chris Gayle, Ab de Villiers, Jacques Kallis, Glenn Maxwell that have graced the RCB dressing room, the franchise, in the world's richest cricket league, pulls in huge numbers of fans both on and off the field. Having a cult-like following backing them and showing up for every contest without fail, even RCB's loyal fanbase couldn't help but chuckle a bit when the team announced their official smartphone partner. Nanan. Founded 4 years ago, the smartphone and electronics manufacturing company Nothing is based in London. It was conceived by Carl Pei, the same Pei who famously co-founded Chinese smartphone maker OnePlus. His banters with the Desis and visits to India have made him a popular figure on this side of the internet. Also read why IPL fans have already singled out Sanjeev Goenka of Lucknow Super Giants just after the launch of their new smartphones Nothing Phone 3A, Phone 3A Pro in India. The tech company announced their penetration in the ongoing IPL 2025. Backing Royal Challengers Bangalore, Nothing's official X handle wrote the perfect partnership doesn't exi. The poster included Virat Kohli, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and Liam Livingstone posing for the smartphone brand. Nanan. The unlikely collab between Nothing and RCB made IPL fans connect the invisible dots. Was that a deliberate partnership or a hilarious accident? Whatever the case, it was a genius move by Nothing, as the collab grabbed plenty eyeballs and generated considerable social media chatter. Out of all of them, imagine choosing RCB, wrote one. King recognizing King, responded another to Nothing's X post. Alt title: how many trophies did they win? Nothing about to make something of RCB's trophy cabinet. Partnership that shows your IPL trophy cabinet. Nanan. Despite being the OGs of the Indian Premier League, Royal Challengers Bangalore's trophy cabinet has nothing. RCB have appeared in all the seasons of the cash-rich league but are yet to lift their maiden title. Also read IPL 2025. Who are the new and old captains of Indian Premier League? A complete guide. RCB hold the record for entering most number of IPL finals without ever winning it. The Royal Challengers Bangalore lost their first final to Deccan Chargers back in 2009. In their second appearance in the final, Chennai Super Kings emerged as the winners. They booked a berth in final in 2016 for a third time. Sunrisers Hyderabad snatched the victory in RCB's first title hopes from them. Interestingly, whenever RCB won 5 consecutive matches, they made it to an IPL final. Will RCB repeat the unique stat this season? We will have to wait and watch. Nanan. Play the best 11 according to form and a lot more. Ex-India coach and former pacer Venkatesh Prasad wrote on X when asked by a fan about what RCB needed to do to win their maiden cup. Also read why Saratoga Water has seen rapid spike in Google searches. This meme is literally bananas. I think that once RCB wins their first trophy, it wouldn't surprise me if they go on to win 2 or 3 relatively quickly, because of the structures there. It's a very, very well-run franchise. But sometimes you can try too hard and you can be too desperate for that elusive prize. So once you win one, you might relax a little bit and let things unfold. Mike Hesson, former director of cricket operations in RCB camp, told NEWS 18 Cricket Next. Meanwhile, RCB kicked off the IPL 2025 campaign with a comfortable victory over Kolkata Knight Riders. Chasing a target of 175 runs put up by KKR on the board, RCB reached the victory line with 7 wickets and 22 deliveries to spare. 50s from both openers Phil Salt 56 and Virat Kohli 59 laid a solid foundation in RCB's run chase. Skipper Rajat Patidar and Liam Livingstone played handy knocks in what eventually turned out to a one-sided affair. RCB will meet Chennai Super Kings next at the MH Chidambaram Stadium on Thursday. Nan. What is a judiciary in-house inquiry? How will it work? In Justice Varma case explained, the Supreme Court formed an in-house procedure of inquiry to probe into complaints of alleged misbehavior against judges of higher judiciary. The resolution was adopted in 1999 and made public in 2014. The Chief Justice of India has initiated an inquiry into the allegations of misconduct against Delhi High Court Judge Justice Yashwant Varma after piles of cash were recovered from his residence during a fire control operation on March 14. The judiciary's internal inquiry, which is different from the impeachment of the Constitution, will be carried out by the Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court Justice Sheel Nagu, Chief Justice of Himachal Pradesh High Court Justice G.S. Sandhwalia, and Justice Anu Sivaraman of Karnataka High Court. Nanane fire broke out at Justice Yashwant Varma's house on March 14. During the operation, fire control personnel found huge piles of cash that was burnt in the fire inside the storeroom. The Chief Justice of Delhi High Court conducted the preliminary inquiry and reported to the CJI that his prima facie opinion is for a deeper probe into the entire matter. As per the direction of the CJI, responses were sought from Justice Varma on the preliminary inquiry findings. Justice Varma said no cash was ever placed by him or his family members in the storeroom, and that they were never shown the sacks of burnt currency notes during the fire control operation. A three-member committee has been set up as per the in-house procedure of the Supreme Court to conduct an inquiry into the allegations. Meanwhile, judicial work has been withdrawn from Justice Varma and he has been transferred to his parent Allahabad High Court by the Collegium. Nanan the Supreme Court formed an in-house procedure of inquiry in order to probe into complaints of alleged misbehavior against judges of higher judiciary. The resolution for in-house procedures for action against judges was adopted in 1999 and made public in 2014. But the need for an internal mechanism was felt in 1995, after allegations of financial impropriety surfaced against then Bombay High Court Chief Justice A.M. Bhattacharjee. The SC noted there was no process to hold a judge accountable for bad conduct inconsistent with the High Office, when such conduct did not meet the high bar of impeachment set by Article 124 of the Constitution. It set up a five-member committee comprising Justices S.C. Agarwal as Anand and S.P. Barishaw from the SC, and Justices P.S. Mishra and D.P. Mohapatra, the senior-most HC Chief Justices at the time, to devise the procedure for taking suitable remedial action against judges, who by their acts of omission or commission, do not follow the accepted values of judicial life, including the ideals expressed by the Supreme Court in the Restatement of Values of Judicial Life. The committee submitted its report in October 1997. It was adopted with amendments in a full court meeting of the SC in December 1999. Nanan when a complaint is received against a judge of a high court, the CJI will decide whether the issue is frivolous or warrants an inquiry. If an inquiry is deemed necessary, the judge's initial response along with comments of the Chief Justice of the concerned high court are taken on record, as per a report by the Hindu. The CJI can then form a three-member committee consisting of two Chief Justices from other high courts and one high court judge. The committee can provide a recommendation that the misconduct is serious enough to warrant removal or not serious enough. If the recommendation is not for removal, the judge would be informed. However, if the recommendation is for the judge's removal, then they will be asked to resign. If the judge is unwilling to resign, the President and the Prime Minister will be apprised about the findings for Parliament to initiate action for removal as per provisions of the Constitution. Any complaint against the Chief Justice of a High Court would be inquired by a committee consisting of a Supreme Court judge and two Chief Justices of other high courts. Nanan the Supreme Court revisited its in-house procedure when a woman additional district and sessions judge from Madhya Pradesh in 2014 filed a complaint of sexual harassment against a sitting judge of the High Court. Justices J.S. Kehar and Aaron Mishra summarized and explained this process through 7 steps. Additional district and sessions judge XV Registrar General High Court of Madhya Pradesh. Nanan it should be noted that the details of the in-house inquiry are kept confidential by the Supreme Court. Though this process would require transparency and disclosure of key findings. One of the root causes for the problem probably lies in the opaqueness of the collegium process that is followed for the appointment of judges. There needs to be a renewed debate on operationalizing the National Judicial Appointments Commission (NJAC), that was struck down by the Supreme Court in 2015 as unconstitutional for violating the basic structure of the independence of judiciary, as per the Hindu report. A broad-based National Judicial Appointments Committee (NJAC) headed by the Chief Justice of India with representatives from various stakeholders including members of the legislature, lawyer associations and academia may be set up on the lines of the Judicial Service Commission in South Africa. The CJI and other senior judges may be provided with a veto to have the final say in the appointment process. This setup would make the selection process more transparent and inclusive without compromising the independence of the judiciary, the report added. Nan. What is Ghibli and why has it taken the internet by storm? It's a Ghibli world we are living in, and OpenAI's GPT-4o is to thank for. Changed my PFP but maybe someone will make me a better one, wrote Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI on X. Altman updated his display picture to a Ghibli-style AI image. And soon the ChatGPT users took the matters into their own hands and created their own imagined world of Ghibli. From iconic movie scenes to tragedies to childhood photos to proposals, everything under the sun is being Ghiblified, but nobody is complaining. This new social media trend has been enabled by OpenAI's GPT-4o model, an inbuilt image generation feature that lets users create stickers, signs, memes, photorealistic images, among more. Unlocking useful and valuable image generation with a natively multimodal model capable of precise, accurate, photorealistic outputs, OpenAI noted during the image tools drop. Among the host of things that it can do, the image generator is exceptionally capable at generating and replicating the images in endearing style of Ghibli. All you have to do is take an image of your choice and prompt the generator to create a Studio Ghibli version of this image. Your Ghibli style image is ready to be posted on social media. Nan we asked ChatGPT to define Ghibli for the unversed, because why not? Studio Ghibli is a renowned Japanese animation studio, famous for creating beautifully crafted, imaginative, and emotionally resonant films. It was founded in 1985 by Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata, two influential directors in the world of animation. The studio is widely regarded for its stunning artwork, deep storytelling, and themes of nature, humanity, fantasy, and self-discovery. Also read Disney's Snow White controversy and hate for woke. Rachel Zegler explained Studio Ghibli has produced masterpieces such as The Tale of the Princess Kaguya 2013, Spirited Away 2001, Grave of the Fireflies 1988. Nanan picking the favorite movies or memories from their lives, humans turn to AI to create their own Ghibli world. We have looked far and wide and put together our favorites. Which one is yours? I don't want any real pictures anymore. Every photograph has to be turned into a Ghibli-style cartoon, wrote a user on X. Is any trend on the internet complete without Indians partaking in it? Tons of curious desis marched to Google to inquire about how they could generate Ghibli-style art. Google Trends. While some were already delivering. Nanan OpenAI CEO has understandably been bamboozled by the response to the new image generator has received. Be me grind for a decade trying to help make super intelligence to cure cancer or whatever mostly. No one cares for first 7.5 years. Then for 2.5 years everyone hates you for everything. Wake up one day to hundreds of messages. Look, I made you into a twink. Ghibli style. Hahanen. And the 84-year-old co-founder of Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki, is not the biggest fan of AI-generated imagery. A report in Variety noted that Miyazaki attended an AI animation demo and was left utterly disgusted. Also read Royal Challengers Bangalore trolled over this smartphone partnership in IPL 2025, hey race why I am utterly disgusted. If you really want to make creepy stuff you can go ahead and do it. I would never wish to incorporate this technology into my work at all, Miyazaki was quoted as saying by Variety. Echoing Miyazaki's sentiments, a user on X responded to the Ghibli madness that has flooded the timelines. Imagine being Miyazaki, pouring decades of heart and soul into making this transcendent beautiful tender style of anime, and then seeing it get sloppyfied by linear algebra. Nanan Leonardo DiCaprio, who has collaborated with the legendary Martin Scorsese 6 times in the past 2 decades, introduced the Shutter Island director to the charming world of Studio Ghibli. I was asked what films I introduced to you, but considering you've seen every film ever made up until 1980, it's pretty hard to say. Other than maybe Spirited Away, Miyazaki's films and maybe Princess Mononoke, DiCaprio told Letterboxd. Scorsese added, it was Spirited Away that you told me to watch. Nan. Why IPL fans are watching Hindi commentary matches on mute? Can you please talk about cricket? IPL 2025 irked fans believe that the quality of Hindi commentary has depreciated over the years and it has become increasingly unpleasant to listen to commentary during the ongoing IPL season that is about everything but cricket. Ian Bishop Kia Bakwas Bait Carteretta H Field Setting, Prediction of Line Length of Next Ball. By West Indies Wali Shari Sunita Kutch. Apni Tarif Karl Dhoti. Game K Barami QBTARHAH. Why is Ian Bishop talking about field setting, prediction of line and length of the next ball? Why don't you recite some West Indian poetry? Why aren't you praising yourself? Why are you talking about the game? Hindi commentary in the ongoing IPL 2025 season has been met with memes, mockery, and severe criticism. However, it is a sincere request by an ardent cricket fan pleading the Hindi commentators to improve the quality of their content that is doing the rounds. The plea sheds light on the hotly debated topic in a palatable way for the audiences to discuss and ponder upon the supposed declining quality of Hindi broadcast. Nanan to all the cricket broadcasters, IPL is going on right now. Some days ago Champions Trophy was taking place. I humbly plead you to improve Hindi commentary. It has increasingly become difficult to tune into a match running Hindi commentary, the fan said in an overall video. In our childhood, we got to listen to Aaron Lau, Maninder Singh, Sunil Doshi. We got to learn a lot about the game. There was a focus on the technical aspects of the game. Also read what is Ghibli and why has it taken the internet by storm, noting that the technical aspect from the game has faded away over time. The Hindi commentary has reduced to poetry, older anecdotes, and topics that are unrelated to cricket. In his video, the fan also wrote about the nonsensical word plays that had ruined the cricket watching experience. Fielder is stationed at the fine leg, square leg, deep mid-wicket so the bowler will bowl short length. This will be their tactic. The cricket fan further voiced that the newer, Hindi-speaking generation could benefit and learn about the sport if there was improvement brought upon in the caliber of commentating. Nanan the debate around Hindi commentary is not a fresh topic. The feeling of disdain has existed for a while now, but with the new season of IPL underway and millions tuning in every day, the frustration has only grown. Shallow understanding, zero game analysis, random batch, Gataya Shayaris and few sleazy double-meaning remarks. And the kingpin of this garbage is Navjot Singh Sidhu. He should be in jail for his commentary. Sikh Hindi version has some commentators who talk as if they are sitting with beer bottles and chutney in front of them and they gossip about everything except cricket. Also read why IPL fans have already singled out Sanjeev Goenka of Lucknow Super Giants. I'm not targeting any commentator, but it feels like Hindi commentary is fading away. Instead of analyzing the game, it's mostly filled with shayari, old stories, and jokes, even double-meaning lines have crept in. This isn't what Hindi listeners want. Give them real cricket insights instead of just sitting and doing this sh.sick. These were a few reactions to Hindi broadcast by IPL fans on X.Nanan. Nobody escapes the memes. It's the internet tradition, after all. Nanan, while criticizing the Hindi panel commentators they did not appreciate listening to, a few names popped up that they wanted seated in the COMM box immediately. Jatin Sapru, Irfan Pathan, Padamjeet Sarwat, Vivek Razdan found mentions among fans. Taking it in his stride, Harbhajan Singh recently responded to the mounting criticism on the state of Hindi commentary. Thanks for the input. We will work on it, Singh, who is currently deployed in the IPL 2025 on Hindi panel, wrote in response. Nanan Shikhar Dhawan, Suresh Raina, Robin Thapa, Ambati Rayudu, Virender Sehwag, Harbhajan Singh and Navjot Singh Sidhu. Nan. Does Saudi Arabia fake moon sighting? Should Indians follow Middle East side tradition? Eid ul-Fitr 2025. Saudi Arabia, home to Islam's holiest sites, has been accused of faking some of its sightings of the moon. Eid ul-Fitr 2025 is Eid on March 31st or April 1st, a crucial question for the Muslims worldwide as Ramadan enters its final week. As per the traditions, the lunar calendar dictates Islamic dates. The official confirmation of Eid ul-Fitr will only come after the crescent moon is sighted. But many wonder if Eid ul-Fitr in India is celebrated after moon is sighted in the country, or do Muslims follow Saudi Arabia or other Muslim-majority countries? Nanan. Some reports stated that there is no centralized or official authority in India that decides the moon sighting. Rather, the decision is made by various local committees. Some noticeable mosques from where official declarations are made include Delhi's Jama Masjid and Fatehpuri Masjid, and the Markazi Chand Committee Eidgah in Lucknow. What if the moon is not sighted in India due to weather conditions? Should Muslims follow festivities? As per Saudi Arabia, Islam reportedly gives Muslims freedom to choose if they want to follow local moon sighting or follow Saudi Arabia. According to IslamQA.info, if the people of your country rely on moon sighting as prescribed in Sharia, then you should start and end the fast with them, and you should not differ from them and follow the moon sighting of another country. But if you feel moon sighting in one country is binding upon all countries, then you should conceal the fact. The website quotes Sheikh Ibn Uthaymin as saying, if you think that the first opinion should be followed and that if the sighting of the new moon is proven in any part of the Muslim world in the manner prescribed in Sharia and that it is binding to act upon that, but your country does not follow that and follows one of the two other opinions, then you should not openly show that you are differing from them, because of the trial and confusion and arguments that may result from that. You can fast secretly at the beginning of Ramadan and break the fast secretly at the beginning of Shawwal. As for differing openly, that is not appropriate and it is not something that is enjoined by Islam. Nanan reports say that astronomers believe the crescent moon heralding the Islamic festival of Eid al-Fitr will not be visible from most of the world, including the Middle East, on Saturday, March 29, when many are expected to look for it. But many believe that regardless of a sighting or lack thereof, Saudi Arabia may declare Eid for Sunday anyway. According to Middle East Eye, for years, Saudi Arabia, home to Islam's holiest sites, has been accused by critics of faking some of its sightings of the moon by reporting them on days when scientists and astronomers insist it is impossible to see it. Saudi authorities have never responded to these criticisms. Nanan. Middle East Eye cited Saudi Arabia's predetermined calendar to predict that the first day of Shawwal, Eid al-Fitr, will be this Sunday, March 30. The astronomers, however, say it will be impossible to see the moon even with optical aid, such as telescopes, on Saturday. Many Muslim-majority countries are expected to celebrate on the same day as Saudi Arabia, while others are likely to look for the moon on Sunday and declare Eid for Monday. The astronomers in April 2023 questioned the Saudi sighting of the moon for Eid al-Fitr. According to the publication, the astronomers said that it had been scientifically impossible for the moon to be seen. On April 20 that year, as Saudi Arabia's moon sighting committee was looking for the moon, prominent Kuwaiti astronomer Adel Al-Saadawn declared that it was impossible to see the crescent this evening in the Arabian Peninsula. I challenge anyone who sees it to photograph it as evidence, he added. But shortly afterwards, Eid was officially declared in Saudi Arabia. Many observers called on Saudi authorities to produce a picture of the moon. No official image was provided. A report in the New Arab in 2019 touched upon a trend in the West where disagreements were noticed between those who follow Saudi moon sighting announcements and those who prefer more local reports. The report stated that the difference in opinion resulted in neighboring mosques beginning the Ramadan fast separately, as well as the odd phenomena of members the same household celebrating Eid on different days. In 2019, a movement of amateur astronomers began in the United Kingdom that challenged Saudi Arabia's fake moon sighting announcements. Among them was Imad Ahmed, founder of the New Crescent Society, a group dedicated to reviving the Islamic tradition of celestial observation. The problem, in particular with Saudi Arabia, is that all year round, they don't do moon sightings. They use the Al-Qura calendar, which is based on calculations, but that often means that their calendar is one day ahead of those based on physical sightings of the moon. Imad was quoted as explaining. So when they do carry out moon sightings, or claim to do so, they end up doing it one day early. Sometimes, and there are many instances in history of this, Saudi Arabia has even claimed the moon has been sighted when it was in fact below the horizon. We know that's not possible from our data and this is a cause for alarm, he was further quoted. Armed with this information, the East Londoner travelled across the UK to promote the idea that British Muslims should carry out their own moon sightings and stop relying on foreign authorities including Saudi Arabia. Nan. Can energy drinks cause heart attack? How a 28-year-old gym goer died despite having a healthy lifestyle. Explained. Energy drinks contain certain ingredients such as caffeine, taurine, guarana, ginseng, sugar and B vitamins, which give quick energy boost but can have adverse effects on the body. A 28-year-old gym enthusiast in the US has died of heart attack after consuming caffeinated energy drinks, her mother has told media. Florida teacher Katie Donnell had a healthy lifestyle even as she often drank 3 energy drinks a day and took a caffeine supplement before hitting the gym. She was a workout queen. She ate clean. She ate organic food, she was the epitome of health other than having energy drinks, her mother, Lori Baranon, told Kennedy News Media. Nan Donnell reportedly drank at least 3 cans of energy drinks daily and also took energy-boosting supplements to sustain her twice-a-day workout routine. Her mother told media that one of her friends said she hardly saw Donnell without an energy drink in her hands. When I cleaned out her car after she passed, it was full of cans, at least 3 or 4 in there, her mother said. In August 2021, Donnell suddenly fell to the ground as her eyes rolled to the back of her head, as per New York Post. Her friends thought it was a stroke. By the time they called an ambulance, it was too late. She was without oxygen for too long and it caused brain damage, Baranon said. They worked on her for 3 hours, and she never woke up. Donnell remained in a medically induced coma for 10 days, but her condition only worsened. Eventually, her family had to make the heartbreaking decision to take her off life support. Though doctors never officially linked Donnell's death to energy drinks, but her mother remains convinced. Doctors said they see this happen a lot with people that do a lot of pre-workout or energy drinks, but they wouldn't give the cause of death to that, she said. I know for a fact that was what was wrong with her. Her mother also claimed that Donnell had horrible anxiety and went to several doctors. I think it was her abuse of caffeine and energy drinks. She believes her daughter relied on the temporary boost of caffeine to juggle her workouts, full-time job, and school. She thought it'd help her work out and give her more energy, she told Daily Mail. I think she got used to the buzz. Nan energy drinks contain certain ingredients such as caffeine, taurine, guarana, ginseng, sugar and B vitamins, which give quick energy boost but can have adverse effects on the body. Caffeine levels in energy drinks can range from 80 mg to a staggering 500 mg per can, far more than a standard cup of coffee, which contains around 100 mg. In moderation, caffeine has benefits, such as improving alertness and even lowering the risk of Alzheimer's and type 2 diabetes. But when consumed in excess, it does more harm than good. Another concern is that these energy drinks are high in sugar content. According to a report by The Independent, refined sugar or artificial sweeteners can cause blood sugar to spike followed by sudden crashes. Moreover, ingredients such as taurine, guarana and ginseng can elevate the risk. These compounds have stimulant effects that can temporarily enhance alertness, but when combined in high amounts, they may pose serious health concerns. A study by the American Heart Association found that consuming one 900 ml energy drink can cause a significant spike in blood sugar pressure and prolong the QT interval, an important measure of electrical activity in the heart. The combination of high caffeine and other stimulants in energy drinks can lead to increased heart rate and blood pressure, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC). The National Institutes of Health (NIH) also notes that too much of these drinks can lead to heart rhythm disturbances and other health issues. A 2017 review found that the excessive consumption of energy drinks may lead to cardiovascular issues, including arrhythmias, cardiac arrest, and myocardial infarction. The researchers noted that these cases typically involved excessive consumption of energy drinks in a short period of time, often combined with alcohol or other stimulants. A 2024 study published in Heart Lung found a strong connection between caffeine consumption, commonly found in energy drinks, and an increased risk of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease (COPD) and lung function issues. Atrial fibrillation is the most common type of cardiac arrhythmia, or atypical heart rhythm. It can cause a fast, pounding heartbeat or shortness of breath and is the leading cardiac cause. A 2011 case report described 2 healthy adolescent males ages 14 and 16 who developed atrial fibrillation after consuming energy drinks. Blood pressure, also known as hypertension, can be caused by consuming a lot of energy drinks, according to a 2019 study. Arrhythmias are caused by problems with heart's electric system, which regulates the heartbeat. A 2021 review found that acute energy drink consumption can disrupt the heart's electrical system in several ways, leading to increased resting heart rate. Sugar consumption can lead to weight gain, type 2 diabetes and serious medical conditions. A 2020 systematic review found that high consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages, including energy drinks, sodas, and sweetened carbonated beverages, led to increased systolic blood pressure and hypertension in children and adolescents. Nan. What are the most shocking cricket stats in game's glorious history? Did you know Sachin Tendulkar has bowled more overs than Dale Steyn in the Otis? Remember that insane stat card of Jacques Kallis? Yes, the one that has floated around for years on the internet. In it you see South African veteran and all-rounder staggering contribution to the game of Test cricket both with bat and the ball. Kallis Sachin Tendulkar Zahir Khan. The card shows Kallis test runs of 12,005 at an average of 56.90 and 271 wickets. Tendulkar had a slightly lower batting average of 56.02 with 15,183 test runs to his name. Zaheer Khan had 273 test wickets. While these numbers changed over time, the legend of Kallis lives on. But this isn't the only shocking cricket stat that you could come across and go let me Google that, shock me with a cricket stat, is a recurring question among the community that pops up every once in a while on X, and we have picked our favorite stats and trivia from men's cricket shared by nerds and statgurus.net. You read that right. Cricket great Sachin Tendulkar hasn't just delivered with the bat. Tendulkar, who played 463 one-day international ODI, has bowled as many as 1,342.2 overs, scalping 154 wickets. In contrast, South African's intimidating Quickie Dale-Steyn has been a part of only 125 ODIs. So it shouldn't come as a surprise then that Steyn bowled 1,042.4 overs in his ODI career. Additionally, Tendulkar also has more ODI wickets than India's premier bowler Jasprit Bumrah. Though, Bumrah has only played 89 matches so far, picking up 149 wickets. There could an entire list of Tendulkar trivia itself, but the former cricketer has more 5-wicket hauls in ODIs than Australian spinner Shane Warne. Tendulkar has 2, while Warne has 1 fifer to his name. Nan, before you come at us, yes, the sample size is laughably low, but stat is a stat. Sorry. Indian bowler Bhuvneshwar Kumar has better test average than Rohit Sharma. Having been part of only 2 test innings in Australia, Kumar averages 50 with as many runs to his name. Sharma has played 19 innings in Australia and accumulated 439 runs, quite low for a player of his caliber. He averages 24.38. Also read why IPL fans are watching Hindi commentary matches on mute. Can you please talk about cricket and his run-up, his action, his attitude, his death stare, his silence, his celebration, his aura? A cricket fan on YouTube, responding to that spell of West Indies legend Curtly Ambrose, wrote. During the 5th test match between Australia and West Indies in 1993, Ambrose delivered one of the most lethal bowling spells that the world has ever seen. Batting first, Australia folded for meagre 119. In his insane spell, Ambrose uprooted 7 wickets in 32 deliveries. The pacer gave away only 1 run. Thanks to his efforts, West Indies won the one-sided match by an inning and 25 runs. Ambrose was player of the match for his destructive bowling figures of 725 and 254. The pacer ended the series with 33 wickets, earning him the player of the series title as well. Nan's Sri Lankan spinning legend Muttiah Muralitharan had smacked more sixes than Virat Kohli in the tests until last year. Muralitharan crossed the boundary line 29 times in 133 tests. Kohli, on the other hand, has 30 maximums to his stats in 123 tests. Nanan Royal Challengers Bangalore have been the butt of jokes since the inception of Indian Premier League, for they have never lifted the trophy despite being the OG team to grace the tournament. Despite the trophyless title attached to the franchise's name, RCB have qualified for IPL playoffs 9 times. Only behind Chennai Super Kings 12 and Mumbai Indians 10. Nanan, despite producing the likes of Sanath Jayasuriya, Kumar Sangakkara, Muttiah Muralitharan, Lasith Malinga, Chammy Navaz, Mahela Jayawardene, Tilakaratne Dilshan, Sri Lanka team have never won a test match in India. The 2 teams first locked horns in 1982 in a drawn test at Jinnah. Nanan, it is a widely documented fact that Virat Kohli has never tasted glory in IPL under the Royal Challengers Bangalore banner. However, former Pakistani cricketer Kamran Akmal, who played for Rajasthan Royals in the inaugural season of Indian Premier League, has 1 trophy to his name. Rajasthan Royals clinched the thriller against Chennai Super Kings. Also read what is Ghaibli and why has it taken the internet by storm. Nanan Sanath Jayasuriya of Sri Lanka is often clubbed in the list of one of the great batters in cricket. But Jayasuriya's astonishing bowling figures are often left out of the chat. The Sri Lankan veteran not only had piled up 13,430 runs in ODI but also had 323 wickets to his name. He appeared in a staggering 445 matches. In contrast, Aussie spinning maestro Shane Warne picked up 293 wickets in 194 ODIs. Honourable mentions: Ajit Agarkar has a test 100 at the Lords. Tendulkar, Lara, Ponting, Kallis have none. Agarkar and Warne share eerily similar ODI stats. Jason Gillespie has a double ton in tests. There are no 2 consecutive finals without Mahendra Singh Dhoni in IPL. Nan. Why Ravichandran Ashwin is the sharpest cricket guru of modern times. IPL 2025. Ravichandran Ashwin has been an exceptional brand ambassador of cricket, and he continues to entertain fans with his quirks, love, and criticism around the sport. In modern times, there has not been a better brand ambassador of cricket than Ravichandran Ashwin. The legendary off-spin bowler who recently retired from all forms of international cricket is currently donning the Chennai Super Kings jersey in the ongoing IPL 2025, but that hasn't stopped him from criticizing the cash-rich league's obsession with the batters. In a recent YouTube video, Ashwin chatted up with Vivek Razdan and spoke about the negligence that the bowlers faced in Indian Premier League. There are at least 10 awards in the IPL match presentation. In fact, Both teams get 50 of the awards. But if someone bowls good, delivers a good over, they get no award, Ashwin quipped. There is super striker, super fours, super sixes, but where is the super ball? Ashwin said before adding that there was once the fastest ball award, but if the fastest ball of the day were smacked for a six, they would still be rewarded. Ashwin Anand's on and off the field quirks and outspoken self have certainly shaped the way we view cricket today, and we have put together a few instances that prove the off-spinner is one of the modern greats of the sport. Nanan, it takes a special character to leave the ball alone so nonchalantly as Ashwin did during the India vs Pakistan match in T20 World Cup, and even Virat Kohli, on the other end, couldn't help but appreciate the incredible game presence of the lower order batter. Ashwin walked out in the middle at a packed microgram when Dinesh Karthik was undone by Mohammad Nawaz on the second last delivery of the match. India still required 2 off 1 when Ashwin took his guard. Nawaz bowled full and down the leg side. Ashwin didn't flinch. He left the ball alone to everyone's amusement. The ball was signalled wide and India had levelled the scores. On the final delivery of the nail-biting thriller between the arch-rivals, Ashwin lofted Nawaz over mid-off region and India registered a historic victory. On a night Kohli won the most praises, Ashwin was lauded for his cold, collected mastery in a tense situation. Also read what are the most shocking cricket stats in game's glorious history. Nanan Ashwin stood his ground when Jos Buttler didn't. There was a severe taboo around dismissing a batter via mankad dismissal in cricket, and when Ashwin, then playing for Kings 11 Punjab, dismissed Rajasthan Royals' Buttler, critics descended upon him like vultures. Calling it against the spirit of the game, they demanded the cricketer play a fair game when Buttler was backing up too far and was eventually adjudged run out by the TV umpire. On my part, it was very instinctive and it was not planned or anything like that, Ashwin said. It is there in the rules of the game. I don't know where the understanding of the spirit of the game comes from, because quite naturally if it's there in the rules, it's there. In 2022, the act of running out batter at the non-striker's end by the bowler while running up was moved from Law 41 unfair play to Law 38 run out. MCC decided to call it a run out officially, and Ashwin supporters remembered him plenty that day. Nanan, despite being one of the sharpest minds in the camp, Ashwin was never considered for the role of captaincy. But he is not bitter about it. The cricketer felt he had it in him to captain India at the highest level, but it wasn't meant to be. I am smart enough to know what works for me and what doesn't for another person. When I started my career, I got first-class captaincy very early. I have won a few tournaments for my team. I believe I had it in me. But I did not have any regret that I didn't go on to lead my country, because these are not things that I can control, Ashwin said while speaking to former England cricketers Nasser Hussain and Michael Atherton on Sky Sports podcast. I have realized somebody needs to feel that I am good enough to lead the team. I need to get another 1,520 people to come along with me for me to be able to lead the team. It wasn't meant for me in this particular chapter of my life. Also read why IPL fans are watching Hindi commentary matches on mute. Can you please talk about cricket? And in a world that is overflowing with experts and panel talks that discuss everything but cricket, Ashwin's personal YouTube channel brings a refreshing change. When he's not playing cricket, he is talking cricket. He's dissecting and analyzing the game. He's reviewing and giving advice to his friends and colleagues. It's a honest op shop if you live and breathe cricket. A fierce competitor on the field, a cricketing brain like no other, now the ultimate storyteller off it. Ashwin has redefined himself beyond the boundary. The About Me tab on Ashwin's YouTube reads. Nanan, what's the point in having all the cricketing knowledge if you can't have a laugh? Ashwin is self-aware and his wit is sharp. Upon being asked about who India would go for, him or Ravindra Jadeja for the Border Gavaskar Trophy in 2024, the off-spinner had a cheeky reply. It's very simple for me. If he plays, I'll badmouth him Ravindra Jadeja all day, all night, joked Ashwin. It used to bother me at one point of time, I won't lie. Because we all want to play. But, it doesn't anymore because the larger goal is at the forefront of my mind. Ashwin also routinely engages with trolls on X. Nan. Immigration and Foreigners Bill, 2025. What it means for India's security and visa system with stricter penalties, a centralized immigration authority, and a digital tracking system. The Immigration and Foreigners Bill, 2025, marks the most comprehensive overhaul of India's border laws in decades. The Immigration and Foreigners Bill, 2025, passed by the Lok Sabha on March 27, 2025, marks a sweeping overhaul of India's decades-old immigration framework. The legislation aims to streamline visa and immigration processes, strengthen national security, and introduce tougher penalties for illegal entrants by replacing 4 outdated laws with a modern, integrated system. The bill repeals the following laws. These colonial and post-independency era laws were considered fragmented, outdated, and inadequate to handle modern migration and border challenges. The Immigration and Foreigners Bill, 2025, consolidates India's immigration laws under a single, comprehensive framework. At its core, the bill mandates that all individuals entering or leaving India must possess valid travel documents, including a passport and, in the case of foreign nationals, a visa. For the first time, a clear and enforceable legal requirement is outlined for registration of foreigners upon arrival in India. This registration will now be managed by a newly proposed Bureau of Immigration, which will act as the nodal agency for all immigration-related functions, including the issuance and regulation of visas, regulation of entry and stay, and eventual exit of foreign nationals. The bill also places legal obligations on airlines, educational institutions, and healthcare facilities to report the presence of foreign nationals. For instance, airlines must submit passenger information to immigration authorities, while universities are required to report the enrollment of foreign students. Similarly, hospitals must notify the authorities if a foreigner is receiving inpatient care. This multi-layered reporting structure is meant to ensure that individuals do not disappear into the system undetected, as has been a long-standing concern. Furthermore, the bill prescribes penalties for various immigration violations. Illegal entry into India without valid documentation may attract a prison sentence of up to 5 years, a fine of up to Rs 5 lakh, or both. Non-using or supplying forged or fraudulently obtained passports or other travel documents or visas shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term not less than 2 years, but may extend to 7 years, and a fine of not less than Rs 1 lakh but which may extend to Rs 10 lakh. The bill proposes. Those overstaying beyond the visa limit will be punished by 3 years with a fine of Rs 3 lakh. One of the most significant promises of the Immigration and Foreigners Bill is the enhancement of India's internal and external border security. The creation of a centralized Bureau of Immigration is a key move in that direction. By consolidating the fragmented powers currently held by multiple agencies, the Bureau will streamline and strengthen enforcement. It will also oversee the implementation of an integrated immigration management system (IIMS), which will act as a digital backbone for real-time tracking of entries and exits across all ports of entry land, sea, and air. The bill also aims to curb misuse of India's relatively liberal visa regime. By placing responsibility on institutions to report the presence of foreign nationals and imposing stiff penalties for violations, the government hopes to deter both illegal entrants and enablers. This accountability mechanism is expected to reduce instances of foreigners overstaying or misusing medical and tourist visas as a backdoor to longer-term residence. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, while defending the bill in Parliament, made it clear that India welcomes foreigners who come legally and contribute meaningfully to its growth but will not tolerate those who enter clandestinely or pose a threat to internal security. India is not a dharamshala, he declared, highlighting the government's intent to draw a firm line between lawful migration and unlawful entry. Having secured approval from the Lok Sabha on March 27, 2025, the Immigration and Foreigners Bill will now be introduced in the Rajya Sabha. The upper house can either pass the bill as is, suggest amendments, or reject it. If the Rajya Sabha clears the bill without changes, it will be sent to the President for assent, after which it will become law. If, however, the Rajya Sabha recommends amendments, the bill will return to the Lok Sabha for reconsideration. Both houses must agree on an identical version before it can be forwarded to the President. Once it receives presidential assent, the central government will notify the date on which the Act comes into force and frame the rules and procedures required for its implementation. The Immigration and Foreigners Bill, 2025, is a significant step in modernizing India's immigration regime, especially amid growing national security concerns and increasing cross-border mobility. Once enacted, it is expected to create a more secure, efficient, and accountable system both for legitimate travelers and for law enforcement agencies dealing with immigration violations. Nan. Israel's secret weapon, the Skyrider drones. The Skyrider unit of the Israeli Defense Forces uses advanced UAVs for real-time battlefield intelligence, aiding in reconnaissance and precision strikes since the 2006 Lebanon War. In the modern battlefield, intelligence is as critical as firepower. Imagine possessing a detailed map of enemy positions, movements, and capabilities before engaging in combat. For the Israeli Defense Forces (IDF), this is not just a strategic wish, it is a reality, thanks to the ultra-secretive Skyrider unit. Operating under the 215th Artillery Brigade, this elite unit serves as the eyes of Israel's military, providing real-time intelligence to infantry, special forces, and armored battalions. Using advanced unmanned aerial vehicles (UAVs), the Skyrider unit ensures soldiers advance safely through hostile terrain, monitoring the battlefield like a hawk from above. Nan. The roots of the Skyrider unit trace back to the early 2000s, when the IDF began evaluating the use of mini-drones for battlefield reconnaissance. However, it was the 2006 Second Lebanon War that underscored the urgent need for real-time aerial intelligence. During that conflict, Israeli ground forces faced significant operational challenges due to limited real-time surveillance. In response, the IDF laid the foundation for what would become Unit 5353, the Skyrider unit. The program underwent extensive trials by the Intelligence and Combat Collection Corps before its formal establishment on October 10, 2010. Eventually, it was placed under the Artillery Corps, ensuring seamless coordination with ground and air support. Nan. Unlike conventional aerial surveillance units, the Skyrider unit carries its UAVs directly into combat zones. Soldiers transport these lightweight drones in compact backpacks, assembling them on-site in minutes. Once ready, the Skylark UAV is launched using a specialized catapult, soaring into enemy airspace to relay critical intelligence. 2 Operators control the UAV via computer, analyzing real-time video feeds to detect enemy movements, suspicious activities, and battlefield obstacles. The gathered intelligence is instantly relayed to field commanders, enabling swift and informed decision-making. Beyond reconnaissance, the Skyrider unit plays a pivotal role in directing artillery, tank fire, and helicopter gunships, ensuring maximum precision in strikes. In modern asymmetric warfare, where urban combat and counter-terrorism operations demand split-second decisions, this unit provides a decisive advantage. And only a select few make it into this elite intelligence unit. Aspiring candidates undergo rigorous selection within the Artillery Corps and special units. The screening process begins during basic training, after which promising recruits are funneled into a specialized company. Following their initial training, Skyrider soldiers embark on a grueling 68 months program, covering individual and team-based drone operations. This training emphasizes small unit tactics, allowing operators to function in high-stress combat environments. Their expertise ensures that every mission, whether in open desert landscapes or dense urban warfare, is executed with precision. And the Skyrider unit relies on the highly sophisticated Skylark UAV series, developed by Israel's defense giant, Elbit Systems Ltd. These drones provide the IDF with unmatched aerial surveillance capabilities. The current fleet includes and as conflicts evolve, so too does the demand for real-time intelligence. The Skyrider unit has become an indispensable part of Israel's military doctrine, seamlessly integrating aerial surveillance with ground operations. With continued advancements in drone technology, its capabilities will only expand, solidifying its role as one of the most formidable intelligence assets in the IDF's arsenal. Nan. Explained: why is Myanmar earthquake prone and what is the Sagaing Fault earthquake in Myanmar? It is said that the biggest reason for earthquake risk in Myanmar is the Sagaing Fault, a major fault, mainly continental right lateral transform fault between the Indian Plate and Sunda Plate. Earthquake in Myanmar. Myanmar was struck by two consecutive earthquakes on Friday, one measuring 7.7 while the other, 6.4 on the magnitude scale, according to United States Geological Survey USGS, leaving at least 25 people dead. The epicenter of the earthquake was reported to be in central Myanmar, nearly 50 km east of the city of Manua. While Myanmar suffered loss of lives and property, tremors of the quake were also felt in Bangkok, Thailand, where buildings were seen shaking. At least 3 people died, while 81 others were reported missing after an under-construction building collapsed in Bangkok due to the massive quake. Nan. Myanmar. Burma is one of the most seismically active regions. On the global seismic risk map, Myanmar lies in the red zone with a moderate to high risk of earthquakes. Nan. It is said that the biggest reason for earthquake risk in Myanmar is the Sagaing Fault, a major fault, mainly continental right lateral transform fault between the Indian Plate and Sunda Plate. It runs approximately 1,200 km through Myanmar. The Sagaing Fault has been linked to notable earthquakes, highlighting the region's seismic activity. This fault involves two landmasses moving sideways past each other, with movement rates estimated between 11 mm and 18 mm annually. Continuous shifting causes stress to build up and eventually release as earthquakes. The measured slip rate, up to 18 mm per year, indicates substantial movement, suggesting significant energy accumulation that could trigger a strong earthquake. Nan. An earthquake happens when Earth's tectonic plates move against each other, creating friction. This sudden movement along a fault line makes the ground shake violently and can sometimes lead to landslides, flooding, and tsunamis. Despite appearing solid, the Earth is very active beneath the surface. It consists of 4 layers: a solid crust, a hot, almost solid mantle, a liquid outer core, and a solid inner core. The lithosphere includes the solid crust and a rigid mantle layer. It isn't a continuous shell but is made up of large puzzle pieces called tectonic plates. These plates are constantly moving on the viscous mantle layer below, as described by NASA. This continuous motion causes stress on Earth's crust. When the stress becomes too great, cracks form, known as faults. Movement of the tectonic plates leads to activity at these faults. An earthquake starts at a location called the epicenter. The most intense shaking is usually felt near the epicenter, but the vibrations can be detected hundreds or even thousands of miles away. Nan. Scientists determine the size of an earthquake using magnitude and intensity. Magnitude measures the energy released, using a seismograph. The Richter scale, created by Charles Richter in the 1930s, was once used for this purpose but is now outdated for large, teleseismic earthquakes. The Richter scale measures the largest amplitude on the recording, while other magnitude scales measure various parts of the earthquake. The USGS currently uses the moment magnitude scale for reporting earthquake magnitudes, although other scales are also calculated for research and comparison. Intensity refers to the shaking and damage caused by an earthquake, which varies from place to place. Nan. Why are Dhoni and CSK being thrashed by their own fans after IPL match against Respipal 2025 milliseconds? Dhoni and Chennai Super Kings were heavily panned for their dismal display with the bat against Royal Challengers Bangalore on Friday. Royal Challengers Bangalore posted a comprehensive win over blockbuster rivals Chennai Super Kings at the MA Chidambaram Stadium on Friday, where the Rajat Patidas side beat the Ruturaj Gaikwad clan by 50 runs. Incidentally, this was RCB's first ever win over CSK at Chepauk since the inception of Indian Premier League in 2008. Seeing their favourite side lose on any given day isn't a pretty sight for any cricket fan, but CSK fans were vocally critical about Mahendra Singh Dhoni and men in yellow. Hayrace Wienanese chasing a steep score of 1967 posted by RCB, who lost the toss and were put to bat first. CSK kept losing wickets on regular intervals, thanks to tight bowling spells by Josh Hazlewood, Yash Dale and Liam Livingstone. Stuttering at 806 in 13 overs, CSK never really looked in the game. Fans particularly grew impatient when CSK required brisk hitting with mounting run rate, but Ravichandran Ashwin was chosen to send ahead of power hitter and game finisher MS Dhoni. As an Indian cricket fan from the 90s, I have huge respect for Dhoni for leading us what we dreamt of for a long time, the ODIWC, but if you're having ting to bat below Ashwin when your team need 14 runs over, it time to call it quits, give someone else a chance to excel, complained one fan over X. Accept it. Dhoni is playing for CSK just for his brand value, not to make CSK win matches, lamented a second. In fact, former cricketer turned commentator Irfan Pathan questioned the proceedings and wondered what Dhoni was doing coming out at number 9 position. I will never be in favour of Dhoni batting at number 9. Not ideal for team, Pathan wrote. Also read why IPL fans have already singled out Sanjeev Goenka of Lucknow Super Giants. Another IPL watcher remarked that Dhoni came out to bat in two scenarios: if CSK had already lost or when CSK were winning. The crowd at Shepak celebrate dismissals of their own batsmen simply because MS Dhoni may come to bat next, irrespective of who is dismissed and the situation the match is in. I am sorry, but the term knowledgeable China crowd is sounding like a misnomer nowadays. Dhoni will come when the match is already lost, hit 23 boundaries, and fool his fans with my intent was right, but the target was too big. Typed down another disappointed user. Many wondered why CSK captain Ruturaj Gaikwad wasn't questioned about the team's decision to send Dhoni so late down the order when match had already slipped from their hands. Also read Pakistani cricket fans are upset over Ricky Ponting performing puja with Punjab Kings team, but Wienanese it wasn't just Dhoni that faced the heat on the losing night. Chennai Super Kings were thrashed for their batting approach as well. At this rate, if CSK keeps playing balls, BCCI might just reforest the entire country, wrote one. Not interested in watching next CSK's game, if Ruturaj, Conway Rakin ain't the top 3. Some viewed celebrating their own wicket at the expense of watching Dhoni bat was wrong on several levels. Look at CSK fans celebrating Ashwin's wicket. He is an absolute legend of the game and their local boy who came back to end his career among CSK fans. But what does he get insult at his home ground? CSK fans, don't destroy your team. To rub salt to their wounds, CSK skip Gaikwad, appearing in the post-match interview, said still happy that we didn't lose by a big margin and at the end it was just 50 runs. His statement further frustrated the fans. Nanan perhaps the only highlight of the night for Chennai Super Kings fans was Dhoni's lightning work behind the stumps. During the 5th over of Royal Challengers Bangalore's batting, Dhoni produced exceptional display with the glove work when Phil Salt looked destructive at 32 in 15. Facing Afghanistan spinner Noor Ahmed, Salt was beaten on the final delivery of the over. Sensing that Salt's feet was not in the safe zone, Dhoni quickly collected the ball and dislodged the bails. Nanan Royal Challengers Bangalore currently top the IPL points table chart with 4 points against their name. RCB have won 2 out of 2 contests in IPL 2025 so far. The Bangalore camp opened their account by winning convincingly against Kolkata Knight Riders in what turned out to be a one-sided match where RCB chased down KKR's target of 175 runs with 7 wickets and 22 deliveries to spare. Also read David Miller didn't deserve this why heartbreak interview by Lucknow Super Giants was in poor taste. Chennai Super Kings stood at 7th spot after their loss to RCB. Previously, they had beaten Mumbai Indians in their IPL 2025 opener where CSK reached the target of 156 with 5 balls to spare and 4 wickets in hand. It must be noted that we are only a week into the latest season of IPL and the points table is subjected to change as the league progresses. Nan. Why did water come gushing out of ground during Myanmar earthquake? Myanmar earthquake. Why is soil liquefaction the major cause of damage during the earthquake that resulted in loss of lives and property? 2 devastating earthquakes that rocked Myanmar and its neighbor Thailand on Friday claimed the lives of more than 1,000 persons with several thousands injured and displaced. Measuring 7.7 and 6.4 on the Richter scale, the epicenter of the calamity was located in the central Myanmar, about 50 km east of the city of Manua. CCTVs and personal smartphone cameras documented the tragedy as buildings, shops, establishments, and a monastery came crumbling down while horrified people ran for cover to safeguard themselves. In Bangkok, high-rise buildings swayed due to resonance with seismic waves and several videos further captured swimming pool water gushing out of the edge of a tall structure onto the streets. There is, however, a video allegedly from Myanmar that has intrigued one and many that captures a strange phenomenon. In the clip, water is seen gushing out of the ground. Those who came across the video speculated that the water pipes had simply broken in the area owing to the strong earthquake, but others wondered if the water pumping out of ground was a direct result of soil liquefaction. Nanan soil liquefaction is a phenomenon when the solid ground starts acting like viscous liquid. This loss of strength can happen during an earthquake in water-saturated soil when the shaking of the ground leads to collapsing of the soil volume. The soil granules can now move freely, making the ground unstable. Any structure can come crumbling down if it is built on soil that is susceptible to liquefaction, thereby increasing the chances of destruction especially during earthquakes. Buildings constructed on loose soil pitch and tilt easily when liquefaction occurs, since the soil no longer supports the structure's foundations. Britannica noted. Poorly drained fine-grained soils such as sandy, silty, and gravelly soils are the most susceptible to liquefaction. News 18 could not independently verify the authenticity of the video. National Center for Seismology (NCS), an earthquake monitoring agency located in India, also noted that soil liquefaction was one of the major contributors to the devastation that has been documented in Myanmar and Bangkok in the past 24 hours or so. The agency reported that the earthquake shaking frequency matched the natural vibrations of the buildings and structures that further added to the destruction witnessed in the regions. Also Reid explained why is Myanmar earthquake prone and what is the Sagaing fault. Nana, not only is Myanmar Burma one of the most seismically active regions in the world, it also is located on the Sagaing fault. Sagaing fault is a major fault located between the Indian plate and Sunda plate. It runs approximately 1,200 km through Myanmar, placing the region in a moderate to high risk of earthquakes. Nan at the time of writing this, the death toll climbed to 1,000 while 2,300 were reportedly injured in the calamity. Blood was in high demand in the areas that suffered the most destruction, said the Myanmar government. Nan India has extended humanitarian support to Myanmar, sending the essential supplies to the country in a dire need. First tranche of humanitarian aid from India has reached the Yangon airport in Myanmar, J. Shankar posted on X. You can catch all the live updates of Myanmar earthquake right here. Nan. Has Putin backed Trump on Greenland expansion plan? Why is it dangerous? Explained. Kremlinologists believe that Putin sees US power in Europe fading, which puts Russia at an advantage to seize its chance to establish a multipolar world where it holds its sphere of influence. Russian President Vladimir Putin has seemingly endorsed Donald Trump's potential territorial expansion in Greenland at a forum in the northern Russian city of Murmansk on Thursday, presenting a more comprehensive case than any U.S. official by crafting a historical argument. The US's plans to take control of Greenland may surprise someone only at first glance, and it is a deep mistake to believe that this is some kind of extravagant talk by the new American administration, Putin said at the Arctic Policy Forum. Nothing of the sort. The US wanted to buy Greenland in the 1960s, but Congress would not support the deal, Putin said. It protected the territory from Nazi occupation in the 1940s and made an offer to buy the island that was rebuffed. Even going back to 1910, the US had designs on Greenland, the Russian leader noted, calling the US plan serious with long-standing historical roots. Putin then turned to Alaska, which was sold by the Russian Empire to the US in 1867. Let me remind you that by 1868, the purchase of Alaska was ridiculed in American newspapers, Putin continued. Now, he said, the purchase under President Andrew Johnson had been vindicated. Nan Kremlinologists believe that Putin sees that US power in Europe is fading. This put Russia at an advantage to seize its chance to establish a multipolar world where it holds its sphere of influence, particularly in Ukraine and Belarus. Putin's idea that a country should not meddle in other countries' business aligns with Trump's transactional view of the world, as well as their deep suspicion of transnational organizations and alliances set up after the Second World War. But as US loses its grip abroad, the White House has declared ambitions throughout the Western Hemisphere in a turn that some commentators have compared to the Monroe Doctrine of 1823, under which the US proclaimed itself the protector of the hemisphere, as per Guardian. Nan Russia, which controls more territory in the Arctic Circle than any other country, sees that part of the world as critical to its own national interests for the same reasons. In his speech, Putin referenced Russia's need for trade routes through the Arctic and its role as a critical hub of oil and natural gas production. Putin has grown increasingly concerned about what he considers to be the West's encroachment on Russia's influence in the Arctic over the past few years. He was particularly frustrated when Finland and Sweden joined NATO in 2023 and 2024, respectively. Russia, which shares an 800 mile border with Finland, called the country's admittance to NATO a mistake. On US seeking for more influence in the Arctic, Putin said in his speech, the United States has serious plans regarding Greenland. These plans have long historical roots, and it is obvious that the United States will continue to consistently advance its geostrategic, military, political, and economic interests in the Arctic. Putin alluded to the possibility that if the US were to take control of Greenland, it would escalate tensions with Russia. He accused NATO countries of using the Arctic as a springboard for possible conflicts. Nan and Trump has shifted international geopolitics by 1. Ending the war in Ukraine, 2. Reset relations with Russia. The former was part of his promise to make America great again and against Joe Biden's pursuit of war, and the latter was a narrative shift where Russia is not viewed as a permanent security threat. In all scheme of things, the Russian position is clear. European troops on their border, even if termed as peacekeepers, will be labeled combatants. Ukraine will not be part of NATO. There should be a demilitarized buffer zone between Russia and Ukraine. Russia will not return the provinces they have taken over during the war. There will be no ceasefire till these terms are accepted. Moreover, the sanctions will have to be lifted, and the Russians will negotiate for a security architecture with Europe in which they are included, as per the Economic and Political Weekly. It is evident that the Western strategy of destroying the Russian economy and military, isolating it globally, and delegitimizing the Russian leadership has failed. Thus, Russia and the BRICS have played a major role in creating multipolarity, which proved a lifeline for Russia and gives strategic importance to BRICS countries. This redistribution of power is not changing in a hurry in spite of U.S. expansion plans. Nan Greenland lies in the northern Atlantic Ocean between Europe and America, and has long been a nexus of tensions among global powers. Besides being bigger than Mexico and Saudi Arabia, Greenland has a strategic location straddling the North Atlantic and the Arctic, a region whose vast stores of critical minerals and fossil fuels are coveted by the U.S., Russia and China. The U.S. operates the Pituffik Space Base, formerly Thule Air Base, on the island, which played a key role during the Cold War and continues to be critical for defense against Russia, China, and North Korea. Greenland's positioning also makes it a key trade route between Western and the Eastern hemispheres. Shipping routes to Asia and Europe through the Arctic are about 40 shorter than others, such as via the Suez and Panama Canals, according to the U.S. Naval Institute, though it cautions shorter shipping routes does not necessarily mean faster or cheaper transport. Greenland has 25 of 34 critical raw materials, according to a 2023 report from the European Commission. Among those deposits are rare earths and graphite, which are critical for the production of EVs. Other rare raw materials include titanium, tungsten, and uranium, which are used in everything from medical devices to light bulb filaments to nuclear fuel. Currently, China dominates the global market for these materials, and has deep reserves of them within its borders. If the US gets to control Greenland's critical resources, it would have its own access to them, thus breaking its reliance on Chinese mining. Nan before buying Alaska, the US bought the territory of Louisiana from France for $15 million in 1803. There's even a precedent involving Denmark. Under President Andrew Johnson in 1867, the U.S. State Department noted Greenland's resources and location as ideal for acquisition but made no formal efforts. Nearly a century later, President Harry S. Truman offered Denmark $100 million for Greenland in 1946 after recognizing its strategic importance post-World War II. Truman also considered trading parts of Alaska for Greenland, though the deal never materialized. Nan since the 830,000 square mile 2.1 million square kilometer island isn't currently on the market, there are no valuations available. It's worth noting that its gross domestic product totaled over $3.2 billion in 2021, according to the World Bank. The island receives an annual subsidy of around $600 million from Denmark. For perspective, the purchase price of Alaska in 1867, $7.2 million, would translate to just over $150 million today, which most would agree would be quite a bargain, as per Bloomberg. Nan the government of Greenland, which is an autonomous region of Denmark, has adamantly rejected any notion that it would become part of the U.S. Both political leaders and citizens have said they have no intention of joining the U.S., while Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said the island was not for sale, and that Trump's interest in Greenland was not a joke. Nan Ghibli-style images has OpenAI's ChatGPT violated copyright laws, explain Eden intellectual property rights lawyer said style is not explicitly protected by copyright. This means OpenAI may not have broken the copyright law by generating images that look like Studio Ghibli movies. Internet users were excited this week when a new version of ChatGPT let them transform popular internet memes or personal images into a distinct style of Ghibli founder Hayao Miyazaki. But the trend has highlighted ethical concerns regarding copyright infringement of creative works and what that means for the future livelihood of human artists. Miyazaki, who used hand-drawn paintings and whimsical storytelling, leading to the success of Japanese animation Spirited Away and other beloved movies, has expressed skepticism about artificial intelligence's role in animation. Nan seeing the overwhelming response of the ChatGPT users towards Ghibli-style images, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman stated on X on Thursday that while it was super fun seeing people love ChatGPT images, the massive amount of image generation was overloading OpenAI's servers. Our GPUs are melting, Altman wrote, who changed his profile picture on X to a Studio Ghibli-style image of himself. He said OpenAI would temporarily limit the number of images users could generate, with free users allowed a maximum of 3 images. An OpenAI spokesperson told TechCrunch that while ChatGPT refuses to replicate the style of individual living artists, OpenAI does permit it to replicate broader studio styles. It is worth noting that there are living artists who are credited with studio's unique styles, such as Ghibli co-founder Miyazaki. Nan Miyazaki, who is famously anti-artificial intelligence, had said in 2016, after seeing an AI-generated animation, that he would never wish to integrate AI into his work. According to the 2020 documentary 10 Years with Hayao Miyazaki, Miyazaki and his team created 60,000 to 70,000 frames for a movie, each hand-drawn and painted with watercolor. A 4-second clip in the 2013 movie The Wind Rises required 15 months of effort from one animator. Evan Brown, an intellectual property lawyer at the law firm Neil McDevitt, told TechCrunch products like GPT-4o's native image generator operate in a legal gray area. Style is not explicitly protected by copyright, according to Brown, meaning OpenAI does not appear to be breaking the law simply by generating images that look like Studio Ghibli movies. However, Brown says it's plausible that OpenAI achieved this likeness by training its model on millions of frames from Ghibli films. Even if that was the case, several courts are still deciding whether training AI models on copyrighted works falls under fair use protections. Josh Weigensberg, a partner at the law firm Pryor Cashman, said the Ghibli-style AI art raises one question whether the AI model was trained on Miyazaki or Studio Ghibli work. That in turn raises the question of, well, do they have a license or permission to do that training or not, he said. Weigensberg stressed if a work was licensed for training, it might make sense for a company to allow getting images transformed into Ghibli style. But if this type of use is happening without consent and compensation, he said, it could be problematic. Weigensberg said told Associated Press there is a general principle at the 30,000 foot view that style is not copyrightable. But sometimes, he said, what people are actually thinking of when they say style could be more specific, discernible, discrete elements of a work of art, he said. A Howl's Moving Castle or Spirited Away, you could freeze a frame in any of those films and point to specific things, and then look at the output of generative AI and see identical elements or substantially similar elements in that output, he said. Just stopping at, oh, well, style isn't protectable under copyright law. That's not necessarily the end of the inquiry, the Associated Press reported. The New York Times and several publishers have sued OpenAI, claiming that the company trained its AI models on copyrighted works without proper attribution or payment. There have been similar claims brought in lawsuits against other leading AI companies, including Meta and AI image generation startup Midjourney. Nanan Studio Ghibli was founded on June 15, 1985, by Hayao Miyazaki, Isao Takahata, and Toshio Suzuki. The studio's name, Ghibli, comes from the Libyan Arabic word for a hot desert wind and was also the name of an Italian aircraft, the Caproni CA.309. Ghibli. Miyazaki was known for his imaginative storytelling in iconic films like Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke, while Takahata and Suzuki contributed with emotionally deep films such as Grave of the Fireflies and The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, and producing many of Ghibli's successful films and ensuring the studio's global reach, respectively. Some of the unique features of Ghibli style are a commitment to traditional techniques of hand-drawn animation that give their films a tangible and organic quality. It also employs detailed backgrounds and environments that immerse viewers in fantastical realms. The films often explore universal themes like nature, identity, and human connections. Some of the studio's most celebrated films include Spirited Away 2001, Princess Mononoke 1997, Howl's Moving Castle 2004, My Neighbor Totoro 1988, and Grave of the Fireflies 1988. Nanan. The image generation feature is available to users across various subscription tiers of ChatGPT, including Free, Plus, Pro, and Team. Users can access the feature by opening ChatGPT and clicking on the three dots in the prompt bar, which opens a drawer with options for image and canvas. For image transformations, users can upload a photo and provide a prompt to convert it into a Ghibli-style image. Popular prompts include transform photos into Studio Ghibli-inspired characters, show me in Studio Ghibli style, and what would I look like as a Ghibli character. Users can also specify details like aspect ratio, colors, and backgrounds to customize the output. The GPT-4o model is capable of generating ultra-precise and photorealistic visuals but is particularly noted for capturing the soft, dreamlike quality of Ghibli style. Rendering times may vary, potentially taking up to a minute due to the model's complexity. Currently, free users of ChatGPT cannot access this feature, as it is only available for Plus, Pro, and Team subscribers. However, users can try alternatives like Grok or Gemini to create similar images. Nan.